Check it on my phone to see how it goes here.
I'm waiting for you, Corey.
I'm good.
Does it say it's live?
It says live on
All
here,
right.
but it's not on the phone yet.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Drive Inside. Joined with, I got a few friends on here today. So I got Cody with Hot One LE. I got Corey with LSX Motorsports. I got Will with Dirtzilla. And then we got Eric with S Motorsports. What's going on, guys?
What's up, bro?
It's another great day.
What's up?
So basically, just want to touch base. I've been reading a lot of. There's been a lot of videos being produced. Not a lot, but there's been some videos being produced that 2023 might be the last year of the Camaro. And what I'm hearing, we're getting a lot of conflict with 2024, and now they're saying that they're going to extend the gas V8. I just kind of want to touch base and kind of get a group chat going on about that. So I appreciate you guys coming on tonight and taking the time to, join the stream with us. So
Hell yeah, dude.
I gotta ask before everything, Cody. What'd you get rid of this 1LE for, man? What's up?
Oh man, this topic is gonna come up on me,
Dude.
dude. You know how I got this comment when I did my live feed that I was selling it, and this dude put this comment like, "I didn't want to make you mad, so I didn't want to comment." It's like, oh, here you go. It's like, oh, I didn't want to offend you, but let me offend you. It's like, whatever, it's how people say stuff like that. And it was like, I think you're doing it because you want to gain more viewers and change things, and it's a highly desirable car. And I was like, dude, there's no way you buy a brand new car at markup, let me advise that,
Right.
and then sell it 3 months later and lose a shitload of money, or a ton of money, sorry, and do it because I wanted to gain an extra 3,000 followers or something. Like, I'm just not that financially incompetent.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but honestly, for me, the problem was for me, it was just like the same car, the 1SS to the 2SS 1LE. Like, it was the same car to me, and as soon as I got the car, once I broke it in, I was just smashing it. The capabilities were all there, and I had to
Yeah.
reach the end capabilities to have the same level of fun. And I was just like, I probably should have got a ZL1, but I didn't. And okay, and then with the car values dropping, coming this year, you see it. I kind of work in the auto for one of the bigger used car sellers out there. I'm kind of in the industry a little bit.
Yeah.
And we all see it, and we see what's going on, and we see it's going to be happening more. And I was just like, oh, get out of it now before I lose any more. And I've already lost a ton on that whole thing.
Yeah.
But I was able to sell it for a decent value. But that's really the gist of it. It was just it was just too much of the same thing after all I had gone through and everything. It was just the same car. I mean, what are you gonna do,
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a great car. I don't shame anybody. It's sold in 2 weeks, but um, yeah, people hate for that. So I feel bad. But
No.
it's a great car,
No.
though.
It is. It's amazing. And that's why I said I kind of felt stupid when I bought a ZL1, because I actually financially, and my financial hit was probably worse. And it's almost the same car. So I was like, it's just.
What, as your 1LE?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's so close, isn't it? It's literally a
Yes.
1LE with
Yes.
more power.
Yes.
Like,
that's it.
It
And I was
literally
like-
feels like the exact same car
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a great way to spend an extra $25,000. Great.
on a supercharger.
On a super, yes. So no, I kind of get it. I was actually, not to be weird or anything, but I was sitting here
Oh,
loading
you're
the
weird.
dishwasher. Oh yeah, it's all good though. I'm responsibly weird. I was loading my dishwasher the other day, and I'm like, I'll bet you he got out at the right time, because I checked prices on ZL1s and it's coming down hard. I was like, oh shit. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Back
Yeah.
in the red again.
Everything's going down.
Yes. Yes.
You don't have that problem if you just hold on to it forever. That's
There's-
what
Yeah.
There's
Kinda
valid
weird,
point.
isn't That's what somebody told me. They said, your depreciation is zero if you just keep it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not here for logic. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm the general of that army, buddy. No, sir. No, yeah, it's so has anybody here ever owned a Corvette?
No.
Nope.
No.
Wish I did.
Isn't that kind of weird how that works?
Driven
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
No New Balances
No?
either.
I mean, like, I've driven like the newer C7 Stingrays, and
Yeah.
I mean they're nice.
Yeah. No.
The C7s are great. I love the C7s. I wish I would have bought that because I remember when I was looking at my 1LE, I was like, crap, dude, you could get like 7, 8 grand off a C7 right now, or I could get the Camaro. And my girlfriend at the time was like, oh, you're too young for a Corvette. That's an old man car. I was like, but look at that thing. It is hot,
Yeah.
dude. Like, I'll be an old man if that's what that means.
All you got to do is
I'll
get
be
your
an
New
old man.
Balances, get your New Balances and
Get-
and just roll with it.
And your
Yeah.
Jordans, or what do they say?
Show up
Get my
at the bingo
loafers.
hall, looking fresh at the bingo.
Yeah, I wish
No.
I would have got it because those values just shot up like
Yep.
crazy too. Like, I mean, C7s are still going for well over MSRP. They're like 60 grand cars now, and they're 2019s. You know, it's like, what is that? So,
Right.
damned
Is that,
if you
were you
do,
talking
damned
in
if you don't.
2019 when? Were you talking in 2019 when you were talking about buying a C7 or what?
Yeah. That's when I got basically the first 1LE, December of 2019. That's when all the C7s were going on sale because the C8 was about to be rolling out, right? And the last of the manuals for the Corvette. And yeah, I still regret it. But like I'm a tall guy, so like driving that, it's like 50% headliner, and you're looking down at the road, and it's like a weird experience to drive a car in that regard. So
Yeah.
went with the Camaro. It's actually a better driving seating position and aspect, in my opinion, anyways.
You, what,
And you guys
you're
probably
what,
don't have that problem.
6'4"?
Yeah.
You're 6'4", aren't you? Yeah. Damn,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. And then the Camaro was still better?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Camaro's got it. They designed the Camaro correctly. The seats just slam lower, even better than the Mustangs. It's perfect, honestly, for a guy like my size and dimensions and everything. Camaro's on the spot, dude. Like, yeah, I've never fit better in a car, honestly. Yeah.
That was why I asked that question, because everybody that seems to be like into Camaros has never owned a Corvette, and it's just a common denominator that I've been.
Well, it used to be like what?
What's that?
It used to be the Camaros are generally cheaper, right, than the Corvettes, right? So you get they're kind of like different financial places for people, I guess, is kind of the regard to that.
Yeah.
Maybe not anymore. I don't know, 50 grand for a Camaro nowadays. So
Well, like
know.
when I was buying mine, I'd say like the C7s were easily $10,000-$15,000 more for what the same engine. I mean, a little lighter, obviously, but the Camaro. The selling point to me is, I got kids and I got two kids, and it's like I can actually take them places, and they're really bad influences when I take them places. They're like, go faster.
That's good parenting.
You can't floor it around every corner, right?
They're gonna try. But that was why I like Camaro, is because of the ground clearance, and I actually thought, because I had mine, it was a 2019 1SS, 1LE, and a 2019 Grand Sport, and I knew it was like my last chance to buy the Corvette if I wanted it stick, and they were both the same color, close to the same color, but you had more ground clearance in the Camaro, and I actually kind of preferred the TR6060 transmission in the Camaro, so that's the route I went. And I got it seemed like I got more because I got the ELSD, the mag ride, the big tires, stiff chassis, all that for like, I think it was like 19,000 less. So
yeah, especially because you could get like 1LEs back then for like roughly 40 grand, and
they were
it's crazy. Yeah,
we talked a deal, and then they were like, "Oh, you're coming back, right?" Because I had to go home, and I'm like, "Yeah." So it was like trust me, I want the car more than you want to sell it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be back. But yeah, I mean, that was back when you could still get deals off the lot. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, easy, right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
so you had a 19. So
Yep.
okay, so we got five people here. Who
Yep.
liked the 19 front end? Who hated the front end of the 19? Anybody dislike it?
Didn't care either way.
They care? S what?
I didn't really care for it. It just, I think it grew on me. Now when I look back at them, I say,
Yeah.
hey, there's certain colors and stuff that it looks better on.
Mhm.
But I I like the bow tie in the grill, like on the 20s, and um,
The color, the painted.
well, like yeah,
Yeah.
the bow tie
Oh,
being
and
up
they moved the. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
up
Yeah.
in the grill versus like in the bumper. But like certain colors, like obviously like black, it kind of blends in. Then it's
Sure.
like, okay, that doesn't look so bad. I'm trying to think of what other colors I've seen.
Yeah.
It's looked pretty sharp. Um, but I mean, like when I was looking, I think that was in 2020. I wasn't in the position to like buy a brand new one. So I was
Mhm.
kind of like, I kind of had the choice. I was like, well, I could look for a 19 or I could look for the 16 to 18s that were, well, actually 17 and 18 because I knew I wanted a 1LE.
Yeah.
So really,
Yeah.
it narrowed it down pretty quick for me.
Yeah, honestly,
Just-
I didn't have a problem with the 19 front end. The bow tie, the flow tie in the middle placement was kind of
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of weird. They have the whole conversion kits and whatever about that, but like yeah, that was weird. That was weird. Like the cutout of the Chevy, I was like, what? Like who? But like it wasn't that big of a deal. But like
Yeah.
that black front end that, people call it the Stormtrooper when you got the white and black ones,
Mm-hmm.
or,
Oh
whatever
yeah.
you want to call it. I thought that was actually badass. It looked like what
Yeah.
people would have done with aftermarket,
Yeah.
wraps or whatever they would have done to black it
Yeah.
out in the middle. I was like, dude, that looks sick. And people are like, no, no, get the 20s. And then people are like, no, we hate the 20s, 16 to 18s only. I was like, dude, you guys are all just too opinionated. Just drive the
Right.
same damn car. So,
That's what
but
everybody was all up. They were like, finally, they didn't mess with the front end on the ZL1, and I'm
all
like,
right.
dude, they can't. I mean, they're so financially committed. They've got so many radiators stuffed. It would take so much to change the front end.
They've done so much testing on that to prove out the
Yes.
airflow characteristics. They
Yes.
don't want to reinvest that money to change it at all.
I
don't
wish
think
they'd
they could
update
afford
the
it.
lighting on the ZL1 though. The headlights, I wish they would update that because it feels outdated to me. No offense,
Kinda.
but like
Mhm.
even when I saw it in the dealership lots, like the old LED lights are like a bunch of like circle LEDs that make the line, where the new ones are like the line. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you could do that with the headlights. Like it would, like you could do that, but they're not investing into.
Well, that's more than $20, so we're not.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do any of that.
Maybe
No.
maybe that's a good segue into GM investing $1 billion into their new engine production that they came out with.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me about that because I don't know about that.
I mean, I just kind of read the articles and stuff that maybe you guys saw those as well. As it was saying how GM is going to invest basically $1 billion into, I think it was maybe a Kentucky facility, but most of it going towards Detroit. You got it up, Andrew?
Let me. I'm gonna try to do something here. I don't know. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay, so I brought it up and it was like 579 million, and they're going to bring it to Flint, Michigan. It says that it's going to be the V8, and wherever they're producing the 3 liters, the turbo diesels, yada, and so on and so forth, that this new engine is going to take place in that. From what I'm seeing, it's going to replace like the 5.3. They're gonna put, it's gonna replace the 5.3 and the 6.2 and the Silverado, and from there on, I was like, well, but they're saying that it's gonna be the new Corvette engine. Is that true, Eric? Is that what you're hearing?
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is they're investing that much money into, you know, the next generation V8, and then, um, which is obviously good for car enthusiasts because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's gonna be
Yeah.
around for a while yet. Because
Yes.
obviously not making that investment if it's going to be 5 years, the payback just isn't there.
Sure.
So
No.
it's going to be around for a while. Me being, rural, you know, we go camping and I got a truck, to pull that and stuff. And so it's like, I was like kind of freaking out. I'm like, this is the last truck that I have. I have an 18 Silverado. And I'm like, what the heck am I going to buy in the next few years if everything's electric? Because for me, it just doesn't work in our areas. Like, like,
Are you not going to go EV?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, my wife would love a Tesla, and we have family that works for Tesla, and they
Right.
do some really cool stuff. Like, don't
Right.
get me wrong. A lot of my previous professional career was involved in EV type vehicles, and so I have a lot of experience in that. And maybe that's why I'm such a Debbie Downer on it. But it just doesn't work all the time in the cold. Lithium ion
Really?
batteries isn't necessarily, in my opinion, the answer, and you can see that from maybe like all of the developments that they're trying to come out with new battery technology that's evolving so quickly. Things become outdated very quick, but just the range goes down. So I don't think it's there yet for rural people like
No.
myself, and in cold climates where your range goes from 250 to 60 miles because it's
Oh my
-5.
God.
Imagine towing as well. It's cold
Yeah.
and towing. You get like 30 miles or something like that on a
I mean,
What?
I
well,
I figured it out just to tow our camper like across the state or whatever, across Wisconsin. It would turn like a 4-hour trip into basically an all-day trip,
Yeah.
like over 10 hours because you'd get like 90 miles at a crack towing, and it doesn't work yet. We're not there yet.
I would buy one to drive to work.
Yeah, exactly.
I would
Exactly.
buy because I mean I got like it's just under 20-mile commute, and that would be like perfect.
Yeah.
To and from work, plug it in, and I can keep my Z01, you know what I mean, in the garage, and I'd be all for that. You know.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good around town daily drivers. For that.
I've never driven an EV. I've never. It's not like I'm anti EV. It's just I've never really had the opportunity. They're just not really that common around here. So
they just cut the price like what, 20% on the Teslas or 15%?
Oh,
did they really?
Yeah.
Did they really?
I have a buddy that has like 2 or 3 Teslas. He kind of rents them out on one of those rental sites.
Oh,
He says all his value of all his Teslas just dropped like 7-8 grand each because
really
I could buy them new for 15% cheaper.
Yeah.
So was that? I think
So
they
what
got
are they
their.
now?
Well, you get a Plaid or whatever for like 112,000 or something like that now. Before it was like 135 or something.
Is that the Plaid?
Yeah. So, but it's all across the board, like 10 to 20%.
Yeah, they dropped recently. I don't know if they got their federal tax credit thing back that they lost for a bit, if that's what that was, or because they're like 8 grand off of like certain models and stuff already.
Okay.
And it was like, I mean, I've driven my mom's Model Y Performance, and like, like I'm the same way. I don't hate them, but it's just not for me, at least right now. Like especially the Tesla, they're very echoey inside. Like if you talk inside of it, like you ever like go to Grand Canyon and you say hello and you hear like hello, hello, hello. Like it's like the materials aren't absorbing sound correctly, and it's a weird concept. But I felt like I was just like sitting in my office kind of concept, I guess. But like the acceleration, like 0 to 60, yeah, it pulls hard and everything, but it's just it's not an enthusiast aspect. There's no like rewarding feeling to the driver. It's supposed to make you feel like you're pulled away from the road and the BS from the road and just, and it's just like, it's like as a group of guys that are all into like enthusiast cars, it's not going to do what we want us to do. But like when you're going to work, you're not paying for oil changes or gas, or like it has its financial aspects there, you know? So it's kind of hard to argue with that.
One thing I want to say to that comment is like I saw Randy post. I'm guessing we all follow him. You know, I think just
used to
Tesla because he sold his Camaro. Is that why?
You know, because it's just all of his posts are that damn Tesla now. And he's like, oh, don't knock
it. Yes.
It's like, bro, I've tried it.
Been there, done it.
What he was doing is he was replacing like ball joints or something like that. And it's like, so yes, electric cars have better maintenance in a lot of aspects, but there's still the typical car maintenance. You don't have like as much brake wear because you have regenerative braking and all that stuff. But I mean, there's still suspension components. There's still things that go bad. So it's not like it's zero maintenance. And
it's a lot more. It's a lot more. But his car was like 112,000 miles, like Model S. That's like been on the road for a long ass time. Like you're gonna replace that on a gas engine car too. You're gonna replace ball joints.
Yeah, exactly.
But the oil change, you know, the gas, the certain fluids, you know, because they have fluids too, right? You know, stuff like that. Yeah, it's definitely a lot less. Like Hertz, actually, the rental car company did a big thing about their EVs, and they only keep cars for like 2-3 years, and then they bounce them and they sell them back to the used market, right? Well, for them, to turn around a car in like 2-3 years when all that typical maintenance is done, they found a 50% reduction in maintenance. So for a company that's selling like cars or renting out cars and not having to like maintain them and throw them back, you know, they just got to wash them and rotate tires and do tires for the majority of it. You know, clean it and everything. Like that's a huge like financial savings for them. So like, you know, for that aspect, it's kind of hard to deny. But you know, we're talking about cars for the masses here. We're not talking about cars for the enthusiast yet. You know, so it's I don't know. It's one of those things. But you're right.
I think I was watching Pejman on I don't know if exotic car hacks or something. And he said that he ordered a Rolls Royce because it kind of does make sense with the Rolls Royce because they go the extra mile to quiet and you know, all the sound deadening and noise cancellation to go EV. So he's saying like ultra luxury models might have an easier time transitioning into that, but like I can't see how a Lamborghini, Ferrari, or you know, anybody else is going to transition into the EV market without.
Porsche got that, or Porsche got that SUV thing, whatever. And I don't know. I saw one down here because in Orange County, there's a lot of EVs out here. I mean, we adopted EVs before anybody, right? I mean, they're like you could drive on the freeway and it's like, oh, you could just start laughing because every car is a white Tesla or black Tesla, and it just makes you kind of. And it's honestly hilarious. But you see these electric Porsches coming out, and you're like, damn, that's a sick car. And they do it right. You know, it looks good, the lighting's good, the interior quality, the tidbits, but not, you know, we don't all got 120K to just throw out a car. So, but you know, that makes sense that what you're saying though there.
That's why I was kind of shocked when Will said that they dropped to like 15%.
Yeah, it's across the board, and that's above and beyond like the normal tax credit. So that's across the board on their MSRP or whatever. So that's why my buddy has 2 or 3 of them. He rents off 2 of them, I think, to that ride share thing, wherever it is, where people rent it right at his house.
Turo or whatever.
He says 2 of those cars he just bought like a couple months ago. So immediately the price just plummeted on his car because he's just now, you know, immediately in the hole.
Yeah, I bet he's pretty happy, huh?
I read somewhere that was potentially just because like this year, you know, Ford and Chevy, like they're coming out, there's a lot more people coming into the EV game, so they don't have the advantage of being the first anymore. So they have to make their stuff more appealing because otherwise they're going to have, you know, $100,000 Tesla versus a $60,000 I don't know, Malibu EV or whatever. I don't know what they're coming out with, but
can I show one thing here? I thought it was interesting that they said that the EPA is going to shoot to have vehicles across the line. Because the way I understand it is they take like GM, Ford, they'll take their whole lineup, cars, trucks, SUVs, and they'll average out all the miles per gallon and everything.
Emissions.
And they try to,
Right.
yeah, you're right, exactly.
It's across
And,
the fleet.
It's
Yeah.
cafe
exactly.
standards.
Yeah, so I mean, and they say that they're trying to ramp it up, but they say that there is some pushback. I was reading here, and they did show that, you know, all these things about how, like, the horsepower is going up, but the efficiency is going through the roof too. But you can see the change since 2008, like across the model years, like they're massively increasing the efficiency of these cars to the point to where.
Sure.
But I hear that there is some pushback to where they're forcing the EPA to back off and actually increase lower the MPG. I had the last I heard. I didn't hear a verdict of which way they went, but I heard that they're trying to lower the MPG. But do you think that maybe the manufacturers are trying to take like SUVs and make them electric or EV? That way they can save the MPGs for like the performance line. Do you think that's what they're doing?
That's how it works. That's why like people will knock 4-cylinder Camaros. It's like, you know, let those be, because the more
yes
you sell, the more V8s I can buy, because that's how it works.
Yeah.
And that's what GM
Yes.
Ford does. They sell, if they're selling zero emission vehicles over here, they can sell their high margin gas guzzling trucks over here, and it averages out to, you know, what they need to meet.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's always been the game, right? That's why you have the V6 Mustang or the V6
Yep.
Camaro.
Yep.
And I think that's how Ford's still staying in the game with their Mustangs. They're able to actually keep a V8 around, is because they have such a variance of fleet. And GM's behind on the electric game. Like, I don't know what GM's been doing like the past 20 years, but like they've just been behind on everything and slow to adapt. And now they're like, oh yeah, everything EV, and we're just gonna ignore like everything else we did. It's like, dude, you guys need to, like, Ford, I got to give respect to Ford in this regard, because they're smart, because they know their market. They do their marketing research, and they actually have good marketing. You know, Dodge is kind of the same way-ish, although I think their people are going to be a little bit harder to turn over, because they went so hard at the just throw a big-ass V8 in anything they can find. And, you know, even back then, they had the SRT Ford Neons and everything. Everything was just about the engine, you know, just throw it in, throw whatever you can in that. But Ford did their research, so they're going to be a little bit more on the cutting edge of this kind of turnover, where GM's just, GM's going to make everybody struggle it out. So it's,
I mean, they did have their bolts exploding in people's garages and stuff. Let's go back a little bit.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're telling people, you know, park your Bolt outside in the driveway because they're blowing up
that's
and
a
blowing
thing.
people's houses
Charge it
down.
outside, they said.
Yeah,
Right?
so that's
Man.
That's why they're set back a little bit, because things can't stay out on fire.
I've heard that about Teslas too, though.
Yeah, well, I've heard
spontaneously
they did put out a thing
combusting
where,
or what?
Yeah,
well,
No, I have a coworker that works in Arizona, and you know, I talk to him every once in a while, and they have tons of Teslas there because it's always warm, you know. And he was saying, like, they're telling people, park your Teslas outside the garage and charge them outside, because they've had so many houses burned down because the Teslas will combust and start on fire and the house burns down.
and
it's,
you know,
he said it happens more often than you think.
You know,
what's
though,
the
like,
cause?
well, the fires are also like harder to put out too, like even on the highway and stuff. Like that. They're like, you know, take 4 times the resources to put out one of those fires. So
yeah, that makes sense. Well, you know, like to kind of be fair here, like even Hyundai was saying don't park your cars in a parking garage because some kind of ignition coil or something that could ignite. Or like GM had an issue back in the day with their ignitions too, where like a wire would get hot and start on fire. And completely unrelated to how the powertrain existed, it was just faulty design. And I mean, they had a really big recalls on their ignitions for quite a while. Now they have push buttons, and that's how they got rid of that. But that was just kind of a thing. That was just kind of more of a thing. Like I think cars are always going to start on fire at some point, and they're always going to blow up, and that's just going to be the nature of stuff because it's a machine, right? Like
Accidents happen.
Yeah, machines don't always work right. But early design models and everything like that are also going to be aspects. But yeah, probably don't buy a Hyundai, I think is what I'm getting at here.
Don't buy a Hyundai or a Bolt.
Nope.
Yeah, right.
You don't even need to flip that quarter. No, don't do it. I got one guy in here that says, I got a 2023 LT1. Can he change the radio? As far as I know, you can't.
You can. Yeah, I think
Can you really?
Gen 5 DIY, I think, sells like a conversion
for the
kit.
Gen 6?
You can go to the so you can go to the bigger radio. You can go. You can even put in the whole spectrum system and everything with that.
Really?
But it's not cheap. I think for the whole setup, it's a couple $1,000 to convert it to the.
Yeah, it's like
fancy.
why?
Yeah, so it's not common.
Yeah, I've seen that online. Yeah, where you can upgrade the radio. I don't know if it was Gen.
What was that? What was that website? One more time.
Well, I thought it was. I haven't looked in a while. I thought it was maybe Gen 5 DIY, but there's another one. I think that there's another one that for sure I can't remember. You have to just Google it and say like on Camaro 6 forum. There's a couple threads on it.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are the thing with the dash though is they're so integrated into the cars now to where like if you change something, then it's like you're looking at just like a mess. Like my buddy tried to put that interior spectrum lighting into his 1S S1LE, and they sell a kit specifically for it. Well, you got to find out which radio model you have, like the head unit model, right? And he got it in there, but he can't change the colors because they can't do the programming to it. But he could it just changes with drive modes, and that's it. And he paid like $1,100, probably another $800 to get it installed. And he's like, "Damn it!" But at least I got it right. And I don't know. That's like as far as like adding a sub and stuff like that, it's probably gonna cost you at least like another $1,000 to do it like right? Like speakers and amps and stuff. But it's just such a pain in the ass nowadays. It's not like what it used to be. I think Gen 5 DIY though, like he was saying, does have something, but I've always just stayed away from it personally because it's just so like there's so much to it.
Well, you have to get your radio recoded as well. So that I think the dealer might, but I know some of the sites that actually you send them in your radio, or you give your VIN and they'll actually go in there and recode, so you get the icon that comes up and all the other stuff that you're supposed to have. But it's like, it's not cheap. So for most people, it's not worth it.
Yeah, if you got to go to like the dealer for something that they're not used to doing, just here you go, man. Yeah, they'll just be like, yeah, we'll get back to you, and you'll never hear from them again and shit. So it's like,
yeah, no. Remember when it was one den or double den, and that was it?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
you're going back, dude.
Yeah, those were the days, man.
Where you take the faceplate off and then you take it with you inside the store and put it in your pocket over there.
Yeah.
Well, that's I don't. I didn't make.
Or you can when the spins and it's like a bare plate. So when you get out of the car, it spins and so it doesn't look like you have.
Oh yeah, you could take the faceplate off so it wouldn't get stolen and like throw it in your bag or whatever like that. That was awesome. Like you'd be like, wow, look at all those digital symbols. My friend would be like, yeah, I got stolen yesterday, and you're just like, what? Like, you just want a nice stereo, dude, or stereos have been weird in cars for too long, man. It's just like it should be such a simple thing.
Well, I had an old Ford Focus SVT, and it had this little strip that was on the radio. You push a button, and a little piece of the radio would pop out, and you had to have that piece to use your radio. So you take that little piece, almost like a pen. You take a pen instead of the whole faceplate.
Oh man,
no.
That was cutting edge back in 2003 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
stuff's getting way too complicated nowadays. It's just like Cody was saying. You change one thing and it's a domino effect. It's just like you'll create 3 different messes by changing this one thing. And that was kind of the part where I was looking to go exotic, but it's like just changing the radio is like it taps into the security system and then and I'm like I'm not doing it, man. I'm just
everything is like CAN message based now. Like I don't know if the radio is, but like all your controllers and like it's not like normal stuff wire, connect the 4 different wires for your your speakers and stuff, it's I guess that is maybe, but everything is just so much more integrated now. You get all your messages, whatever, low tire pressure, all those messages on your radio. So no one wants to lose that anymore. So that's why you generally don't change it.
Like your climate control stuff now, a lot of it goes all through the radio. So you lose your radio, it goes, hey, I don't need heating and air.
You can't turn on your AC now.
Yeah, like two toggle switches to your dashboard to turn on your AC or something like that to bypass it.
Well, instead of that, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So I was just gonna say, like, a lot of that though is because like they made things more efficient because we stuffed more electronics in it. So like originally, like S was saying, like it used to be just like wires. You get 12 volts, you get 5 volts, whatever, and you just put the power where it needs it in the grounds where you need it, and everything just kind of worked. But like they started getting more technical with the ECUs and everything, not just the ECUs but other modules. And now they're like sensing how much voltage comes through. How much voltage comes through to actually measure what that is. So they measure resistance now. So now if you're getting too much voltage or too low voltage, now things go freaking nuts. So it's not just 12 volts to 11 volts or whatever it used to be. It's 0.3 of a volt can throw the whole thing off. So so it got complicated.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, well, now, like I said, your radio goes bad and you lose half your, normally in the old days, your radio goes bad. Okay, I can't turn on my FM radio. But now your radio goes bad, you lose half your car.
Yeah, your car spins out and blows up on some trees and shit.
Yeah. So, like what happens, I hit the button and it was a short, so I turned on my heated seat and I freaking blew my freaking back in or whatever.
He says he wants to know if you can at least change the speakers. Have you messed with your Camaro a lot, Derp? No.
Oh yeah, well, me, yeah. I haven't done any audio stuff. I redid a lot of interior stuff, and now I have my whole front end sitting on my garage floor, as you know.
Is it? Is it done?
Huh?
Is it done?
I can't get the carbon fiber freaking inlet bezels in. I can't get them to snap into place.
Oh.
So for that shit, because it's carbon fiber piece is it's a little bit bigger. So I'm sitting there. I think I pulled my dang shoulder out of place trying to push the stupid thing in, and I cut the old bezels right out with a Dremel. I just Dremeled them out. I cut the top grill out. I just got tired of trying to mess with those damn snaps.
Don't you love modifying a car nowadays?
Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm sitting there trying to push the two pieces together. And I'm like, my shoulder's starting to hurt. I'm getting old. I'm just like, I'll sit there for another day. And all this because I hit a tire in the middle of the street. And
oh shit!
Out the bottom underneath my car. So now I'm like, well, I'm waiting on some new part deflector panels and stuff that broke. Might as well do all my conversions that I've been sitting on for like 6 months, and now I'm kind of regretting it. So,
dude, Cody blasted a big old freaking rock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was cool.
That was cool. That was cool. You got good footage of it too.
That was cool as shit, dude. That was cool. I remember what had happened. I was just like, this is stupid. I just want to answer Gibby. Yeah, you could change your speakers, but you have to match the impedance and speakers. Talk to people that know more than us, I guess, so to speak. But you can switch out your speakers, but it's not going to be a huge upgrade. You're better off. Actually, like. The speakers in the Camaros are actually okay because they're very big speakers, so they provide a lot of bass and stuff like that, and they're not that crappy. But you can actually.
2SS.
The 1SS speakers sucked. The 1SS, no, the 1SS 1LEs are actually worse than the 1SS.
Yes.
They actually have less. Yeah, okay. Those sucked.
They're
not good.
They were bad.
Well, like I said, there's threads on this on the Camaro 6 forum where people actually do swaps on this side, and it really depends on do you have the Bose, do you not have the Bose, you have which model, what setup, and then you can add like inline amps and stuff like that, and then tie off. But it's just I don't want to rip out all my panels, all the freaking interior, because that's just that much more chance of breaking stuff. And so I haven't messed with it. I think mine with the ZL1 at least it sounds okay, good enough for me. I'm like,
well, you got the Bose.
Yeah, they sound. I mean, they're not
actually
mind
pretty
blowing,
good,
but they sound pretty good for a car.
Like the 1SS 1LE, what I have, that I mean, it has the front speakers and then it's got the 2 sail panel speakers. I was assuming I had like the rear deck speakers. No,
you
don't even have that, and then there's no factory amp. So
are there
it's like
grills up there for it in the back window? Are there grills for it?
the cutouts are there for it. So I
Okay.
could like put speakers in, but I'd have to
Yeah.
put it on an auxiliary amp. So my solution was just to add some subs because that added enough volume and bass, and I was like, good enough, you know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say, you know, I will say the Honda minivan that we bought last year has a way better sound system than the Camaro has. I mean,
Are you saying
Dude.
GM cut corners? I don't believe it.
I mean,
No,
but
no.
yeah, I think you can change the speakers. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like Cody said, you just got to match the ohms, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You could take out your speakers, measure them if they're 4 ohms, you know, by 4 ohm speakers. I don't think that doesn't screw anything up. I've seen plenty of people.
Yeah, there's adapter plates too if you want to adjust, like if you want to get like a smaller
Yeah.
or some of those duals or whatever, you get adapter plates that people sell that kind of fits in your door or whatever. Like I said, it's just a pain. You don't have to pop everything out. But I did see, I think on the Facebook group, Camaro group, somebody did it, talked about his entire system. He did it. He replaced everything. I think his bill was like $4,000. So FYI, if you want to go into a high-end system, I mean, but that replaced the speakers. He had like 2 or 3 amps in there, all sorts of weird stuff, and it was like $1,000 labor and like $3,000 in parts. I was like, yeah, heck no, I'd rather buy some fun stuff for that. So,
Delete the cats, 3-inch tubing all the way back. Problem solved. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's it.
That's yeah, because I sincerely I did a straight pipe on my ZL1, and oh my god, I didn't even need the radio. I'm missing it so bad right now. I put Force Extremes on to get rid of the drone. Because the drone was it was atrocious, dude. I don't know if anybody watched on the video, but it's like, it is unbearable. But
yeah,
I can't do drone.
The stock exhaust without the valves. So if you get the MPP exhaust, but like they put the valves in there, not just because people like playing with quiet and loud, and Ford did that to match, but no, it pulls out drone on the highway, which is why they open and close as they do, because I pulled the fuse on my 1LE, SS1LE, and on a highway, when you would just barely step on it, you would get drone. And I was like, these exhaust drone stock. And that's what they do. They kind of taper them off a little bit, so when you're just cruising, that it pulls out that drone and you're happy.
Is that what that is? Because mine was like, you had to be on it to get.
And they open up.
That's done in the tune. It's whatever in their body control module. Like you can adjust that in.
Can you really?
Mm-hmm. And so like I like it how it's set up stock, just for the reason Cody was just saying. I like it when I put it in 6th gear and I'm cruising, not a big deal. But the moment you drop it into 4th or whatever, it opens those valves up, and then you're good to go.
My SS was great. It worked exactly just like how it was, very intuitive. It just, you put it in track mode, it was loud. You put it in touring, it was quiet. I mean, the thing worked exactly how you think it was, but the ZL1, you had to be like stomping its guts out to get it to be loud. And it was just like you'd have to really push, and then it would just open up. Man, I was like, man, this sucks. So I put Corsa Extremes on it. I'm not putting anything MPP back on it. And it's great now, but I don't know. That's interesting that you say that. What's that?
I kept my MPP, but I went to Borla Attack Cat back, and I deleted the secondary cats, and I think it works. It sounds great. Like, but I have the 10-speed, so I went the lazy man way. Didn't go the.
So you got the AFM valves.
No, they don't have that on the ZL1s. No AFM valve. They have the MPP, but no AFM on the ZL1s.
Really?
So because I don't think that goes 4 to 8. That doesn't do the 4-cylinder mode on the ZL1. Yeah, they were like, no, it's a ZL1. The SSs do, so you do get the AFM.
They still have the same internal, like in the motor. That
the DOD.
They I guess they have it in the motor,
just not
they're not like active. Yeah, so But I love
that saves you from the whole issue with those valves and everything that happens with them. So
I always thought it was the lifter. Yeah, and then it would bind and break your camshaft or break up.
Yeah, my sister had they bought a brand new 2021, 2022 Suburban or whatever with the 5.3, and I don't know, she had like barely any miles on it, and
What?
yeah,
Like
I mean
how
it was
many?
like,
How many?
I don't know, 5,000 maybe or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's
And yeah, she got stranded in, work parking lot, had to get it towed. What
Oh,
happens is when it goes in the DOD, it collapses the lifter so it doesn't open the valve. And then it gets stuck, and then it won't go back open, so then it's like in a stuck mode, so then you get all that clearance and it's rattling around, and that's when it bends stuff.
is it
And
slapping the valve?
it's no, it's not opening the valve, so the push rod's just bouncing around in there, and that's
Yeah.
why they get bent a lot of times. And the dealer is like, we can only change the one side, the side that had the problem, the like driver bank. And she's like, well, isn't it probably going to happen to the other side too? And the dealer's like, yep, but we can't change it. And she's like, this is dumb. Yep.
See you
And
next week.
yeah.
literally it was like 2 weeks, and they took it, take it back. She was very upset because this was a brand new vehicle, and then she didn't have it for like a month. And so my brother-in-law is like, you're giving us a loaner, because
Oh yeah.
they had kids they had to run around and stuff. But GM, is trying to get out of it cheap and not pay for those parts to do both sides right away, when really it should have just
But
been
now
cheaper.
it's more.
Yeah, it'd be cheaper. It's already opened up. Just replace everything instead of
Yeah.
opening it up
Right.
twice.
Right.
Dude, that's
But-
the
well, that's-
GM way. That's the GM
That's
way,
like
my God.
the
Yeah.
faulty engine parts on the Camaros a couple years ago or whatever they had in the 6.2s or whatever. They put out those faulty, I forgot what it was, but they had a batch of faulty parts or whatever, and their cars are blowing up like right off the lot, like
Yeah.
50 miles off.
I think
heading home from the lot.
the valve was like changed out, right? Like they had like bad batch of valves supposedly.
Yeah, something like
think
that.
is
They
what
don't
it
know.
was, yeah.
They didn't track them. They just threw them in a huge, batch, so they couldn't even say for sure which. They give you a general range of, hey, if your car is built between this year and this year, you might have an issue, but you might not. But of course, it's not big enough an issue to do a recall. They just say
You'll
if it
have an
blows up,
issue.
come on in.
Yeah.
But it was the
That-
same thing. They would only replace like that one component or maybe two,
Yep.
that side, and then you'd come back and it would blow up like on the way home again.
Yep. No, it's just like Cody was saying. Is stuff, and I know you went through this with your clutch. Stuff will break,
Yeah.
and they will do everything to fight you tooth and nail to not fix it.
Yeah.
And when I bought my ZL1, that was when I was like, if it's gonna blow up, it's gonna blow up. So I was, everyone started freaking out online. You don't worry about the break-in periods, and I'm like, dude, you don't get it. They're not gonna fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not.
They're not gonna fix it. So what does it fucking matter, man? You know what I mean? So that was why I just did what I wanted right out of the gate, and this time around I just went down and I put the meth and started modifying it right away because it's not gonna matter.
Yeah. That's. I think that's the problem with GM a lot is the dealership experience for the people, and I don't want to
Sucks.
cast a black cloud over GM and everything because
I'll do it.
okay, I will too. You see my channel.
Yeah.
And the dealership experience just blows, dude. It's like it's so like I went to Honda to get my Honda fixed, and I'm not going to say it was great, and I'm not going to say they even fixed it, but it wasn't the opposite of that, So all dealerships kind of suck, but I feel like GM goes like the distance to make sure they suck. Like it's like,
Spit
hey,
on you walking the door. Honda, they give you a neck rub, and a warm
Yeah.
towel.
yeah, you like walk in the door, it's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, somebody just punched me. What the fuck was that? It's just like
They
there's
give
just
you a
some
broom
guy
and tell
there
you
just
to
like,
sweep up the lobby.
yeah, that's like, yeah, no
Like,
kidding.
what? That'll work. It's part of the experience. You can clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, I did. I had. I still remember the day. My 1SS, my 19, the orange one, that was on the channel. It had 3,576 miles, and I pulled because one of the right rear tire was getting chewed up wonky, and I had to take it in, get it. They put the shit on the tires and then realigned it, whatever, and it was good to go after that. But I had to go elsewhere because they said, "Oops, sorry, it's out of warranty." I'm like 3,500 miles. You
That's
know
a
what I mean?
consumable. You know, that's a wear item.
Yeah, that's like that's like
that's it
BMW
right there.
and the rod bearings.
It's a wear item,
It's
man.
like, yeah.
That's about all the miles you get out of the stock. What good?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the supercar threes.
Supercar
I got
threes?
10,000 out of them. I got 10,000 out of the first set.
You're not driving, right?
I know.
What's that?
I got
What's
5,000. Out
Did
of
you?
3 sets, I got 5,000.
Yeah, yeah.
When they get buried, just get your Dremel and cut yourself in some new traction.
Some new
sipes. Yeah.
Where's he go?
There you go. Yeah, that's it until you get air.
Well, my ZL1 broke 500 miles in. I had it, nothing serious, but one of the coolant lines for the supercharger, like, completely separated and started spitting coolant out of the supercharger. So thankfully, I was thinking about adding that LSA supercharger expansion tank, and it replaces that line anyway. So I just swapped it and put that tank in there and called it good. I didn't even mess with the dealer because I didn't want to.
Smart man. Yes.
Yeah, I haven't taken any of my stuff to the dealer, so I'm trying to.
Don't.
That. Short of my motor exploding, then I'll worry about it then. But even then, I still might not.
I honest to God, I think that like the LT4 and the LT1, it's so well designed that I beat the hell out of that LT1 daily, and that thing just took it. Took it. But it was just the stupid little things that you would think that they would be like, okay, we'll fix it, no problem. I will say that my dealer, when I did have the car in, they'd give me a loaner, and I didn't have to fight them on that stuff. But it was GM corporate, not wanting to reimburse them or not wanting to warranty something or not. I think
we had a chat about that.
What?
You and I had some chats about that. I remember that.
Yeah, you and your what was it? Throw up bearing? Was that what you had?
Yeah, 3 of them.
3 of them. 3 of them. And I'm like, dude, all it is it's a little bearing that just sits and they're
plastic housing. But yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah, the throw up bearing. So not to go too much into that, but I found out they actually changed the throw up bearings on the manuals in 2021. So they actually got shorter and they got thinner as far as the plastic housing. So the metal balls, fit in basically a plastic housing. The aftermarket has like a metal insert that totally works, and that's what you're supposed to do. But you're not supposed to have. Yeah, you're not supposed to have those kind of problems so early on, especially for like people like, oh, maybe it's the way you driven. It's like, dude, I've driven manuals for over 20 years, and how is my clutch perfectly fine, but like I'm fucking up my blowout.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's
we
were talking about.
Dude, I was just like,
oh, dude, I was almost fighting mad for you. I'm like, this is because I was watching you when you vlogged that one when you took the camera into the dealership.
Oh yeah, the guy didn't know he was being recorded.
But yeah, it's I was sitting there and I'm like, how is that abuse? There's no way that's abuse. That's
everything's
total
abuse.
Bullshit.
You drove the car a lot, that you just abuse it.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people having the same throwout bearing issues with when I came from Subaru WRX.
Yeah, they had a
WRX is everybody had issues with throwout bearings, and then they would chew up like the transmission snout or something like that, and cause all sorts of issues. Yeah. You had to buy these adapter kits to cover like the chewed up mangle damage that would happen from it, and they were like, "Oh, it's abuse."
How
you shifted?
Okay.
1 RPM and 7,000 RPM. Anywhere in that range is abuse.
That's right.
You should be
Were you driving your car?
Push it.
It was abuse.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell the dealer, like, I was so like careful with my wording and everything, especially because I was recording and
you did good.
I was like, dude, like I always treat people with like respect and everything, but when he said it was abuse, I was just like,
yeah,
dude, I want to show you some abuse right now. But that's not how it's gonna go. But I was just like
to the point with the 1LEs too. Like, like you hear horror stories on like Camaro 6 and stuff. I'm on there all the time as well, and then you get people like, oh, they're not honoring like track warranty or something like that, and it's like,
yep.
Look at your main page where you're advertising. You got track focused car. It's for the track, everything. And then now, if you're not going to warranty it or cover it because it's on track,
What's the
picture's
purpose
not
of
even
of a track car?
Yeah, the picture's not even in focus because the car's doing like 140. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're gonna push all this intense advertisement on people
Yeah.
and this hype and marketing, and then you're gonna tell people, don't go over the speed limit, don't go over 65. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well,
Yeah, the picture online
go to
has
the
a
track,
helmet.
not actually attend the track. That's just a park
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
track and watch other people.
that's
If you
right.
go onto
That's
the track
exactly.
itself,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Sorry about your luck there. Yeah.
it's ridiculous, dude. Like especially for like a purposely built track car. And I gotta admit,
Yes.
those 1LEs are
Yes.
amazing. Like I've tracked that. I did Big Willow, Streets of Willow,
Yeah. Right. I
a
saw
bunch
that.
of autocross, a bunch of everything. And like there's guys that push their cars way harder than I did. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I got eaten up by like a supercharged Miata one of those days, and it just blew by me like I was the slowest car on the track. And it's like, it's not that they're going in for warranty work or anything, but none of these cars are blowing up and having major problems, and then there's clearly design issues or quality issues there. But like the whole excuse, like, oh, you put it on the track is just so, that's so frustrating, man. Yeah.
And the thing is, like GM, like looking at it from, like an HB tuner's side, you can see like what they do in the tune, and they got stuff so safe in there. It's
Yes.
I mean,
Right, right.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
I mean, it's just like and the way they have their knock sensors set up and stuff, everything is super safe, and they are dumping fuel. But then on the other hand, they do things really goofy where you're just like, they do things
like
for
what?
fuel economy. Like they're not actually, like, I think of like an old carbureted car. You step on the gas, it's going to give it all the gas. It's just dumping fuel in there. And like on these cars, like they don't bring in a richer fuel mixture until 5,000 RPM. And then they have, I mean, that's literally how the tune is set up. It's unless you're getting knock, they'll bring in knock enrichment and stuff to basically make that better. It's just like they do things a certain way, but
they build safety into it.
Yeah, they build a lot of safety into it. So I mean, that's the reason why they can last doing the things they're doing on the track and stuff.
That's also part of the reason why I do like Camaro, because it seems like they give you a really good start.
Yeah.
But they don't quite finish it, or they cheap out where, you know what I'm saying? Like on my blower, it's, the Gen 5 got a 1.9. Well, let's decrease the displacement on the supercharger. That sounds like a good idea, but the thing will get exhausted really fast. And it's like, Corvette got a 2.3? The ZR1, what was that? The LS9?
The 2019, you mean?
C6 ZR1. I think it was a 2.3. Because the
I think
2019
it's bigger.
guy,
I forgot what it was though, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like they're going back, and we'll give you a 6.2.
Up the efficiency and decrease the size, so they make it more efficient. And,
I think the 1.9
spin faster or whatever
is really good at
23,000 RPM or something like that.
Yeah, they put four lobes on the rotor, and they shortened up the rotor pack, so the width and everything's the same. So they took the flex out of the middle, so you can spin it harder, but they decrease. It's like, why would you go down in size? And it's kind of like putting plastic instead of carbon fiber. But I mean, I understand that,
Well, I mean, the same reason they're top Camaro, 650 horsepower for this whole time, but the Mustang's been going up, Dodge horsepower been going up, and they're like, oh, the top Camaro's still 650. These guys got like 800 something, and then they're like, oh, then of course they do those little comparison tests, which sells cars. Yeah. Oh, Dodge is blowing away, Oh, the GT500 blown away. Camaro's the slowest one. Why buy a Camaro?
So that's a good point. I'd like to get your guys' opinions on, like, it seems like GM just pushes off the Camaro. Granted, it with its long history of whatever life. Now they're talking. We were talking before about the new Corvette, that they're the C9, the next generation Corvette, and it just seems like
C9. We're already there. We're already there.
Well, like they're saying, like C9 2028 calendar year, it'll be ready to order or whatever. But it sounds like it's just like the next iteration on the same chassis.
Please worry about cranking out the Camaros first, Chevrolet. Please. sorry, buddy. I just said.
But it's like you don't even hear him mention Camaro. You know? It's
no.
It's to like go away.
I guess that's our job. That's our job. I guess.
I don't know. It's It's frustrating from an enthusiast standpoint because not everyone wants a Corvette, and you know this and you still don't have the C8s in a manual. Like you know, like I have my automatic Trans Am, and that's fun, but like I wanted a manual because I enjoy it. Like I'm way slower driving it than I would be if I would have got a auto. You know,
that might be a good thing.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, it's just.
Were you going to say something, Corey?
No, I just said, is it because of low sales? The Camaro, put no money into advertising. And that LT1 is the same from 2016 right up to now. It's never increased any horsepower at all, has it?
No, not since.
It's literally the same.
Yeah.
Usually you expect like a 5 or 10 horsepower bump every year.
Something.
Well, at least they didn't go down like Ford.
Yeah.
You know, that was due to like a carbon filter they put in the intake, though, and you could pull that thing out. They're starting to throw that in all the cars because the emissions can come, or the leftover fuel, you know, can come back throughout the intake, right? So they have a little carbon filter to catch tiny little particles. Like I imagine, like over the life of like 20 years of a car sitting there, like how much gas comes out of the intake, like to make a warrant against the environment. Like I just can't imagine it's that much, but
probably a teaspoon.
I didn't test it, you know. So, but yeah, the Camaro's dead, man. I hate to say how dead it is, but it's so dead. Like, okay, so, and I don't want to like hijack, but there was a comment from this is actually one of the things, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
So we kind of touched base on this. So Jason Clark said, like, what's your all's thought on the GM dumping money into the new engine, and do you guys think they're gonna go out sad or hopefully give us one last party? So we kind of touched on this, right? Yeah, and so my question is for you guys: who actually put out that information? Did GM give us that information?
And for the new engine?
Yeah.
That was their release. That was like their big release that they were investing all this money into manufacturing, and that was from GM. That was their big news. So they are investing in the new engine. And that's
probably going to be trucks mostly, is my guess. It's probably going to be, I mean, look at the Lightning, the performance on that thing. What is it like with towing 100 and something miles, like with good conditions? So GM's probably like, well, we that's big money for GM, especially the truck. I mean, they're not the
truck market,
right?
I do not see them bringing the Camaro back with anything. So it's going to be probably a pure truck engine.
I'm hopeful, you know, that they might do something. But the way I'm looking at this is, you know, I have a car now. I'm hopeful that now with the new engine platform, kind of like. So the C9, they're saying, hey, that's going to be the next. The critical part is that it's going to be internal combustion engine for motivation. That was from GM Authority, so you know, take that with a grain of salt. But my thought is, hey, if this is like a Gen 3 to Gen 4, where it's essentially the same, just different maybe components, you know, different rods, blah blah blah. If this goes into like the next generation of direct injected engines, if the Corvette is getting like an LT2, like I have the LT2 intake on my car, maybe they come out with a better intake for this new generation engine. Maybe some of those parts can filter into the Camaro world because it's a direct injected engine. You know, you with the ZL1, if they're coming out with a new higher performance Corvette that uses direct injected engine, maybe they have better flowing stock injectors that can filter back to us at a lower cost. Because if you looked at, upgrading like injectors to aftermarket. They're insanely expensive.
Oh my gosh, it's just as cheap to
it's not
put
the way to
port
do
injection on.
So that's my hope, is that we just get some parts out of it, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't mean to cut you off earlier, Eric, when I brought up that whole page, but that was kind of the part what Derp was saying with the truck and everything.
Yeah,
that's what I was wondering if that's why they're inspired or provoked this whole thing, because
I'm sure
trucks, foreign sales, probably to sell some other countries and stuff. That
I think like, okay, so I don't know how to bring up this subject, but kind of like spawning off onto that. So there's a very well-known Camaro person that used to put out really good information about Camaros, and now it's just basically like literally Camaro misinformation. And this guy put out a comment the other night, and you all know him, and he put out a comment on his page, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for a new ZL1 to put an order on, but none of the dealers have them. LT1, LT4, what do you call that? Low quantity or whatever, I forgot his wording." But he literally said he was looking for them and calling all the dealers trying to place an order, and he couldn't because none of the dealers are getting them now. Is there a lack of LT1 or LT4 blocks? And I'm just like, I put in there like, hey dude, you just got to place your order. They're not going to have just allocations sitting on by. And I was nice about it, and I said they're not going to have allocations just sitting by. You got to place your order with 1 or 2 dealers, and then they'll pick it up when they can. You'll get it. People are still getting it. And I even said, and he said, well, it's the dealers aren't getting them like they used to. And I said, here, dude, try out these dealers. I placed an order with this dealer for a ZL1, and they got it just like a month ago. So they're getting them, but you just got to wait. And then he replied, well, I'm not looking to order one. And then I was like, well, you just literally made a post saying you're looking to order one, and why you got to troll people, dude? Like, and it's like, why are you trolling? And it got me kind of annoyed, and I've been a little bit annoyed with that, with him for that reason. And bury my channel because this thumbs down all my videos, whatever, what the hell ever, But like dude's been like, that's where the source of the LT2 engine came from, right? And even the LT2 news, if you went on the Gen 6 forum, everybody's like, the LT2 is not going in the Camaro. It's just
and the
not.
LT5.
No way they're spending money to reevaluate and all that stuff.
And the LT5.
No,
yeah. And everybody was like, everybody that's in the know that literally sits there and like researches this stuff and is about it was just like, dude, this is just crap. And like, even the article that he had gone off from his sources, that guy is in the forums, and he's like, might have been my fault. That was really outdated article that he was grabbing on. And yeah, and now he's basically saying there's a shortage of LT1 and LT4 blocks, and I basically put in there like, dude, just why are you playing? Like, just stop. Like, I understand your channel is going to dissolve in the next 2 years because the Camaros are going to be dead and you have nothing else to talk about except for like hype. But like you're not doing a justice for the community at all, and like all the other communities that like people are looking for when I'm about to buy a muscle car. Well, you're shooting them off, dude. You're burning them off. So people watch YouTube. We all know everybody watches YouTube nowadays, and he's, I think, a part of dissolving at least the influence over the Camaros. When there is no shortage on LT1s. I mean, what the hell? They put them in other vehicles. It's crazy to even say that. But that's what clicks, and people go, oh my God, no, yes. I'm not buying a Camaro because of that. I'm going to go get the last Dodge, or I'm going to wait for Ford. And it's just like, I wish, like, I think all of us as YouTubers and everything, we all strive to be better for our communities. And, you get an influence like that, and they just kind of like shit over like what we kind of try to do. And if he comes on here and hates me and unfollows me on anything, that's okay. But like, I think that goes back to like, it's not just GM. It's the influence, and you got Ford with their influencers. They put up that Stang Mode guy, which we don't know. But at least they're pushing positive information, right? At least they're pushing like like good news, and I mean, at least Ford's giving us good news, but at the same time, like it's not the exact extreme opposite. So we're in a weird place as Camaro fans. We're in a weird place where they haven't done anything for us. We're not doing anything for them apparently. I mean, we do our own marketing, you know.
Yeah.
So it's the dissolving of Camaro is just weird.
I just don't believe in the drama. I think if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. And then I try to steer it towards something more useful for my audience or something.
Or at least like
create
real
fear.
information, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that helps too. Yeah, real information helps.
Yeah, I mean, clickbait's easy, right? Clickbait's easy. You click on it, but I think people lose integrity and who you are and what you're doing when you do that. And like the way he was responding to me was just very short, and it was just kind of almost like, from one Camaro guy to another. Granted, you have a huger following than I'll probably even be able to touch with my, sub 5K subscribers. I'm happy about. But like, like just do justice for yourself and the community that you're involved in. And if the Camaro community or the dealership shits on you, then tell people the dealership shitting on you. So I'll just leave it at that. That's my mind right there.
No, it's good. Yep. Speaking of any info, any news on Camaro Fest?
Good question.
The last I heard, it was pretty much going to be a reiteration, maybe some new stuff for the year, but everything's on, and I haven't heard of anything that's going to change dramatically.
No.
I know that doesn't help, and that's nothing groundbreaking, but
I think it is.
Unveil the new EV Camaro minivan.
Oh god! Yeah, God! Come on! Oh well. Cody just getting done saying we're all friends here, bud.
It's gonna be the new Eclipse, man. You saw what Mitsubishi did with the Eclipse?
Oh yeah.
What is that thing? I don't even know what that is.
Those new Eclipse they're gonna come out with?
No, they came out with it a couple years back, but they turned the Eclipse.
Oh, okay.
To that
crossover.
Oh, so we know GM's gonna do that with Camaro.
That's right.
Happen. I know. I mean, they're gonna do the worst thing possible. They're gonna make it a crossover.
Didn't they say they were gonna make an EV Corvette crossover or SUV?
They're gonna make it a brand, Corvette as a brand, and they're probably gonna be pulling out.
Is that gonna be like what they did with Ram?
Oh, where they split Ram off of Dodge or whatever.
Yeah, so now Ram is its own entity. Oh. Is that what they're going to do with Corvette? Is that what you're saying?
I haven't heard that, but
I
did hear about them trying to make more. Yeah,
they're going to make it. They're going to do it like its own brand. I mean, basically, like Ford's doing it with the Mustang, right? If you say Mustang, you got to ask the guy: is it like a real Mustang or is it that thing? So I don't. GM's always been a predecessor to Ford. Like always, they'll take what Ford puts out and then they'll make it sharper, slightly better, and give you all the more performance kind of cool stuff. They've always done that. The Mustang came out first, then the Camaro came out, and it's always been a horsepower war. I mean, the 2015 Mustang GT came out, and then we had the 2016 Camaros, right? So they just tuned it a little bit. They've always been the one right after for good reason, I think. But they've always been after. So I think
wasn't like
that's
the when they had the performance packs, PP1, PP2, and like the PP2 was like the equivalent to the SS1LE.
It was trying to be.
Yeah.
It fell short, but the one, exactly. The 1LE came out better.
Yeah.
It had all the chassis stuff. The chassis couldn't hold up to the Camaro chassis.
Is that what it was?
That's why the performance pack couldn't hold up to the 1LE.
Oh my god, the Alpha chassis is. That's why when I heard Cadillac got the Alpha 2, I was like, "Fuck yeah, here we go!" I was so pumped for it. I couldn't wait, man. I was like, "If this car is this good, like, can you imagine what they're going?" And then I got the EV news, and I was like, "Great, here we go." Well, so, but
I don't know. The way I've always looked at what's the future of the Camaro is look at Ford. Look at what Ford's doing, because that's been the history of it. At least as long as I'm old, I'm getting old. And like since as a kid, that's how you've seen it. And when they killed the Camaro, they killed the Gen 4 Camaro. I think is when they originally killed the Camaro. Like again,
in 02.
Yeah, like, and then the Mustangs were out, and like they were just totally subpar because they didn't have to compete against anything. They had the
They
V6,
got lazy.
yeah, they because they didn't have to. They had the 4.0
Right.
V6, which was like a truck engine. I remember I drove one, and it was just so shameful. And then they had their V8s, which weren't bad, but they put like really tall gear in them, and they felt like you're driving like a truck.
Yeah.
And then finally they're like, oh, the Camaro's coming out again, and Ford's like, oh shit, okay, we got to do something. And then like we started getting good cars again.
Yeah. Then you got the tubular K member in the, what was it, the S550.
Yeah.
Then you got the tubular K member. You got all these upgrades. You're right. As soon as the fifth gen Camaro got announced, then all of a sudden the Camaro started tightening its game up. So
well, that's maybe that's a good thing for the Camaro, is why I remain hopeful. Ford's saying like, hey, we're doing all this Mustang stuff.
yeah.
Right.
That seems weird that you just say, okay, yeah, you just have that market. I know it's smaller, but
even Dodge jumped out of the thing.
Yeah,
and
now
top
with
seller,
Dodge
aren't they,
jumping
for a
on.
while now?
Who's gonna what vehicles
Who's gonna
are those
fill the
people gonna
void?
buy? Because I always say like those Dodge people, they are just like, give me a Hemi. They're not gonna say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get an electric vehicle now because I don't want
It's
my
an
Hemi anymore.
E-Hemi. They're gonna come out with the E-Hemi.
Oh my god!
It's gonna they're gonna have two motors bolted together just to look like a normal motor, but they're gonna be two electric motors bolted
The Hem
into
E.
E. Yeah. Well, just
Yeah.
like when Ford came out with the E Mach or Mach whatever Mach E,
E.
I was like, they should have just called it like the Stallion, Stallion, instead of calling it a Mustang, whatever. They have the Stallion or something. You could get that play,
Tweak it a little bit.
but they call it the freaking Mustang, which is crazy.
I think Mach E would have been fine for that, but just stay away from Mustang and keep the pony off of it, and just give it its own headlights. Because Mach E was like, oh, okay, I could work with that. And they're like, no, but it's a Mustang. And you're like, dude, there's nothing Mustang about this thing. Like, except for the fact that they put a Mustang and put tri-bar headlight or taillights on it but again, that's marketing, and that's how they got people talking, and everybody talked trash. Well, negative publicity is still publicity. So, and especially in the kind of society we live in now, where it's, social media and everything like that. I mean, to troll somebody gets you views now, and to talk negatively gets you views. So they were like, yeah, let's just troll ourselves and call it a Mustang. That's how I feel about it anyways. But I feel bent about that car.
Well, it's like you said, the Corvette. Now they're gonna do the Corvette, whatever. Which it seems like it waters down the actual Corvette. You think Corvette? You think a performance? Car.
It's an insult. It's an insult.
Yeah.
You're gonna come out with a freaking whatever, a Corvette station wagon. The wood paneling on the side of it. Come on, check out this sweet Corvette.
So they got to start making appliances now in these names, like a Corvette barbecue and a freaking a Dodge Viper refrigerator. If they start doing that, and everybody's gonna start saying they have Dodge Viper.
Why not?
That's where we're at. I mean, people are already driving refrigerators down the road. So I mean, but yeah, if you're just popping in this channel, we're not anti-AEV. I don't know what we are here.
We just like what we like.
Yeah.
I like I said, if I was gonna buy an EV, I'd drive it to work. I drive a Pontiac Grand Prix right now. It's nothing flashy. It's nothing great. I mean, it is GTP, but I would.
I'd drive an EV. I'd drive an EV, but
I'd take a Plaid if I could convince my wife to let me buy one.
But for most people, even like we were talking about the Tesla price decrease, like just a little around town car, $60,000+. It's like, how does that make sense?
But if it's at the sacrifice of my 6.2 supercharged LT4, we're gonna fight it to the death. I'm not letting that shit go without a fight. You know what I mean?
That's the disappointing thing is what we've heard is not, is from the enthusiast standpoint. It's all, we're going down this EV thing and we're just killing basically internal combustion engines. So that makes people go, well, I don't like that. If they would be side by side and would say, well, you have an option.
Yes.
It's
that's called culture shock.
Well, help things. Like there are going to be people that drive the EV. There are going to be people that drive the normal internal combustion engines.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier about the averages of the MPG. And hopefully, I'm hoping. Here's what I'm hoping, and it's just like Cody was saying Eric brought it up about how GM follows Ford, and they're talking about not going from the 5.0, but they were bringing out the 7.3. What do they call that? The Megazilla or whatever? What was that? Does anybody know what that's called?
Godzilla,
yeah, maybe.
But they were keeping ICE motor, they're keeping manual transmission, and everybody was up. That generated a bunch of hype, and that generated a bunch of positive publicity for them. And I think Chevrolet saw that and kind of was like, "Oh, okay." And I'm wondering if that's where this $579 million investment going into this new V8 maybe came from. What do you think?
I think they aren't going to sell enough EV trucks to replace their lost income if they just quit selling internal combustion engine trucks.
To the workforce. I mean, you're not going to go to a construction site with a bunch of EV trucks. Guys that are be working these things hard, and they're not going to drop $100,000 on an EV truck to go work their construction gig.
No. It's we the first live stream I think that we did. I think Jonathan. Didn't Jonathan say something about how, because I think he works out cutting trees down. He's up in Canada, New Brunswick, and didn't he say that type of architecture just wouldn't even fly up there? Like it's not even.
Not right now. No, it's too cold up here to run that stuff. I don't know if you guys watch Hoobie's Garage or not. He had a Ford Lightning on there.
I did see that.
I tried towing with it. The mileage went way down. And then
sorry, I was laughing at the comment that was just posted. Sorry. I was
looking at it too.
Bad. Race Car Fridge just missed that, but yeah. Go ahead.
When it was cold, the mileage went way down on it as well. So how are you going to do work in Alaska with one of them trucks?
You can't.
Truck?
Well, you tow a generator.
Someday, maybe.
Easy.
Oh, I was just going to hop on Amazon and see how big of a drop cord they sold. But yeah, a generator's good. Yeah.
Huge solar panel array, just put it on your roof, and then a huge generator is mounted on the back. You're good.
And then market it as downforce?
Yeah. See?
There you go.
It's a wing. It's a race wing of a solar panel.
Carbon fiber. Yeah. I like it.
I don't know a lot about these.
You're welcome, Jim. You're welcome.
What I understand, it's not easy to recycle either.
Some of you can recycle. Some is much harder. Like some of it you can, like the glasses. I think you can pound it down into sand and reuse it or whatever. But some of it's harder to.
The lithium.
Yeah. But like I'll say again, like I'm not anti-EV. Like there's definitely a place for it, But one thing that I haven't heard people talk about is the life cycle of a vehicle. Like typical cars you're driving for 20 years is 15, 20 years. I mean, that's how old the car was. I just sold last year, it was a 20-year-old car and I was still driving it all the time, 170,000 miles. And now EVs have a kind of expected life of 10 years, 14 years, and you got to replace a battery pack. That's, $10,000. That's basically like throwing it in the trash at that point because most people aren't going to do that. That's like replacing an engine. So now you take your cars and you had a 20-year life expectancy and you drop it down to 10 or 12. I mean, that's just
it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Do the used car?
And you can't really go and pull a battery pack out of the junkyard because it's probably already trashed as well because it's already been long gone.
Are they going to
get a motor out of the junkyard, but you can't get a battery pack? And my brother has a Prius, and his battery went out.
Here's another thing.
Yeah, you junked the car because you
can't rolling blackouts in California sometime. sometimes? What? Don't they sometimes have rolling blackouts in California?
Oh yeah. I
mean, okay, so I got to address that being from California. I got to address that. That is such negative publicity. I live in California. We don't have any rolling blackouts.
What is it? What is that? What is it?
Okay. Rolling blackouts have been a thing since I've been a kid here. So I've lived in California 38 years, right? Okay. Rolling blackouts typically only happen to the places that haven't invested into their electrical infrastructure. So there's a city.
What does it even mean, though? What does it even mean?
So rolling blackouts are where there's so much drain on the electrical infrastructure that they have to choose randomly by like zip codes which areas they're going to shut off the lights. And it's usually like 2-3 minutes, and then they turn it back on and everything's groovy. So they only really do this in areas that are actually like so I used to live in a city, Fullerton, and this is before EVs were really a thing. They had rolling blackouts. Well, they had rolling blackouts because they never invested in their infrastructure. And I'm talking like utility poles, overhead lines and stuff like that, whether politicians just banked the money for it or they just invested it in other places, that's where you see that. But like literally, I live in one of the highest EV areas probably in the world, and I think I could honestly say that. And I have not once experienced one of those. They like to bump that in news and like, oh, now don't charge your EVs because there's rolling. Like the majority of people have solar on their roofs here nowadays. They charge their cars at night when the infrastructure is low on electrical, when the pole's low on the infrastructure. They did say that, yeah, but it was like, well, everybody plugs them in late at night anyways. And like for the majority of people here, we've always kind of been scarce on resources. Like water has been scarce resource. So, and even like they say, they charge us more for electricity between like 3 and I think it's like 9 p.m. to discourage us from using it. Most Californians are like, well, we're just sharing the pie anyways. So yeah, I don't run my dishwasher until like 9 p.m. But I've always been like that, So it's not as, not to discredit what you were saying or anything, but I think a lot of it was motivated news to at least say. And I think I'm not going to keep going on this, I promise. I think we're in the infancy of electrical vehicles. So when we're talking about prices of batteries and recycling and the life of batteries and working in the cold and stuff, the only way you get there is by doing it. Yeah. So in the next 10, 20 years, we're not going to probably have these chats anymore. It's going to be a lot more solidified. Just like when we went from horses and buggies to gasoline cars, we had refineries and all that stuff. And then, I mean, people said the same thing back then with gas refineries. Oh, it's explosive. It's like, hell yeah, it's explosive. But like, do we have gasoline and refineries going up on fire all the time? Well, sometimes, but like it hasn't, held us back, I guess.
Was it a natural progression back in the day when they went from horse to cars, or they let it play out by the market? Or did they say, "Oh, you're getting turned into your buggies"? By 20, but
1912, it's over.
It's kind of a different time, right? Like, I mean, you went from
pollution,
you went from 10 miles per hour having to carry around feed with you, and you're cover with the wife and people dying of diseases that just don't exist anymore, to you can drive down the highway at 35 miles per hour. And like, they didn't have seatbelts when seatbelts were brought in. People were big on that too. They're like, I'm not putting on a seatbelt. That's, I'm not going to go down this route. But a lot of people thought it was like a takeaway of their freedom of driving, and they didn't want to do that until they saw their loved ones or whatever fly through a window. And now we come here where we are today, and it's like, who doesn't wear their seatbelt? Like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's like, it's just, you put it on, right? People used to think like you would actually be safer if you didn't have your seatbelt, because you would fly out of the vehicle during the crash, and you would be safer. And I was like, I don't want to fly out of nothing going 60.
If the vehicle's on fire and you fly out of the vehicle, you're not going to burn up, right? I mean, boom.
But how often are we? Yeah.
I can see both sides of the fence.
Yeah,
wear
right.
A helmet.
So
you wear your helmet, you're good. You go through the window, you just bounce.
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, what race car friend said? I think you put his quote down there.
What's that?
What's up, race car friends? Though, what's up, bro?
He says, you guys heard about the proposed ban on EVs in the state of Wyoming by 2035. 2035? I thought it was going to be all 50. That's what.
Where is Wyoming on a map? That's my question. Like, if you had to look at a map, where the hell is Wyoming?
It's in BFE.
Less than me.
I think. Like, how much car sales do they really have?
Well, I mean, you look at their population, and there's probably like this many electric vehicles.
Imagine trying to put like a charger network in somewhere like that. I mean, we got 2 people per charger every 500-mile radius or something like that. Nobody's gonna spend $1 million to put up a charger for 5 people or whatever.
Sure.
I get where they're coming from, because right now they just don't have the infrastructure to support that in the near term. And like Cody said too, I agree. Like, you have to push the boundaries to push the technology to move forward in the electric industry. It's just I just get scared of like them taking away basically internal combustion engines, which is as an enthusiast point of it. So that's where it's like you can have maybe both.
That's a deal breaker for me. That's a deal breaker. Go ahead.
Yeah, they should just let it evolve naturally. I mean, obviously, if you keep coming out with better EVs that are just that much better than what the ICE engines can do, then people are going to just naturally go to them. If your EV's towing 600 miles in the cold and costs $2 to charge, people are just going to. It's going to make a bit more sense. They're not going to just hold on to their gas engine if it's worse in every way.
Yeah.
So if they let everybody have their choice and just let the market evolve, and then if it becomes better and what that person needs, they're going to buy it.
It's going to suck. They know it, and that's why it's being forced on you.
Yeah. So there's no point. Yeah.
I did just this comment. Just
ahead.
this comment. I did invite Blue. Anthony said that he had something going on with the family, so I did invite him. He said he would be on another stream some other time. So
he prioritizes his family over his community. I get it. That's cool.
Listen,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm not gonna micromanage. Yeah.
That's a good segue in that I need to get going.
Okay.
Have a good one, S.
Yeah, thank you. My kids are trying to break into the room here of like they're like, it's time to get off the computer. It's like, okay. So
all right, brother.
Nice chatting with you guys. Hopefully we can do it again sometime. This was fun.
Have a good one, brother.
Yep. See you, man.
Yeah, we got Q the Chaotic in here too. What's up, Q? I wish Q could actually have been in this. Q's one of us as far as all this stuff. Yeah, he's alpha. He's a lot like me. I know you guys like your autos too, but I'm a manual guy. I'll drive manuals until like my leg breaks off and somebody beats me with it.
Yep.
But yeah, one of these days we gotta do a live feed with Q the Chaotic. Dude's a homie, good channel too. So
Q, you want to come on? Just put it in the comments.
Well, how long before all our cars are going to be like? If you see Minority Report, you know, those little freaking things on those almost like tracks. You hop in and you have to take manual mode if you're lucky or whatever, and it's like manual mode not authorized. You know, like, oh, you used your quota for fuel this week.
Hopefully, that's something my grandkids have to deal with.
Like, we're such a minority as car enthusiasts, right? Like, I think like there's been like a report done, and they say like car enthusiasts are about maybe 1% of the actual market of sold vehicles. So, you know, people that don't buy, you know, Civics and just whatever cars, right? Like community cars, you know, just transportation. A lot of people, like, if you think about it, how many people do you know, like, you know, outside the community, you know, like directly that we talk to, really care about horsepower and really care about like rowing their own gears. Like they totally don't. They just want to be like, how cheap is it? How reliable is it? And like, can my kids throw up in it and I could just wash it out with the hose or something like that, right?
Power wash the inside of my car.
Yeah, like the Jeep, but don't do that, you know?
Well, that's what's crazy. They're cracking down on performance parts and cat deletes and the tuning stuff. But it's such a tiny fraction of people who actually do this stuff.
Right.
What's the actual impact of them deleting their cats on the environment if every performance person does it? Nothing. It's literally nothing.
pretty
so
small.
Crazy about them cracking down on this when it's a tiny drop in the bucket. Like
I haven't
a couple
done a whole
car crashes will put out more freaking environmental impact than running no cats for your freaking weekend cruiser.
Yeah,
I've actually heard that no cats at E85 is cleaner than pump gas.
Oh, the E85, I would definitely, I'd probably agree with that. I used to run E85 on my WRX, and
I haven't done any. I don't have any data to back that up or anything, but that's just what I've heard. And
I don't know about E, dude. That stuff, like, I'm all for E85. Don't get me wrong, but like, that was such an ass backward attempt to make cars more efficient and cleaner because it's the exact opposite. It takes so much water to grow corn. And then not only that, but like if you ever been behind an E85 car, like on a canyon or something, you could smell it the whole way up. You know what I mean? Like I'm all for it. Trust me, I've ran E on my cars too.
Yeah.
And I'm all about it. But like the amount of water it takes when there's like you could be producing food and the way that corn actually is not good for the soil and you have to let it sit. I don't want to sound like the hippie here, but hemp would actually have been a better material to do that. And they tried to do that. Henry Ford tried to do that way back in the day. He was making plant cellulose fibers out of cars and shit and running cars on hemp fuel. And the soil's regenerative. You don't have to use so much fluid. You don't have to use so much sprays to keep it.
He was making body panels out of the hemp too.
Yeah. Yeah. And like he would hit it with the bat to show how strong they are. The bat would bounce off and the panel would be completely fine. And why didn't we get there? Well, because big oil shut them up, and like, it's just, it is what it is.
It's the same reason they don't use hemp for like more paper products and stuff like that, even though it's much better to use that than trees.
Like a tree.
Drugs, it's drugs, can't do that because it's, people are going to smoke their newspaper or something crazy.
Well, so technically the Declaration of Independence was written on hemp, and granted, hemp doesn't have a high THC content, but I guess you can smoke the Declaration of Independence without it.
There we go.
I wouldn't suggest it, but
was that Nicolas Cage? That's why I was going for that. You had to smoke it.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
So,
yeah,
I just want to talk. I didn't want to transition but I want to talk final edition final edition Camaro.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything? From what I have heard, we have heard nothing from GM themselves, and everything is pretty much hearsay.
It's going to be a change of the emblem on the steering wheel, probably, and a paint, and that's probably it.
I think you're going to
get the 50th anniversary. It's going to be.
I don't even know if you're going to get both. I think it's going to be one of the other.
Well, they might have a special color that you can pick, a paint code, and then you're going to get the emblem on the steering wheel. That's probably going to be the whole fucking. Maybe if you're lucky, on the seat as well. If you're getting crazy,
for $5,000 more.
It'll be a $5 grand. It'll be like they'll probably put some kind of final edition thing on every steering wheel if everyone sold, and they'll probably have a package with like a paint code and like a stripe or something like that. And that's probably going to be. Maybe a different stitching color of your seats or something. That's probably all they're going to do.
Yeah, I think even that's ambitious.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's going to be like a Hot Wheels edition, final edition, probably.
I mean, we've only gotten color changes since 2020, and that was just like a front bumper change and like rear taillights. So I think we've only gotten like paint, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean, like paint. I'm not talking anything, crazy. Like,
yeah.
It's probably going to be, they'll probably give us one new paint code. It's going to be a paint that we've had on other Chevy cars. It's not going to be some unique paint first ever. It's going to be some refactored in from somewhere else.
Corvette hand-me-down?
Yeah, probably. Yep. It's going to be a logo on your steering wheel to replace, the Camaro or whatever, or the bottom piece, wherever that on the bottom of your steering wheel. That's probably going to say like whatever, final or something, and that's going to be it. Maybe a new pinstripe.
We've seen the yellow, right? We've all heard about the yellow, the end Camaro that's like yellow with like some decals or something like that, which is supposedly the rumor end of Camaro, right?
Yeah. So it says here, and this is from GM Authority, so this is coming from GM. It says that they might get the 668, which they did in the Cadillac CTA, was it CT5V Blackwing? 668, 659 foot-pounds of torque. They might bump it up.
Wait, for what? For the ZL1?
For the final edition, because they were saying that this is going to be. I don't think so.
It's not going to happen. They're not going to refactor the stuff, and they're not going to do anything that's going to take any effort. That's effort.
I'm going to be more impressed if they just get them, if they can get the units out in time and get them to the dealerships and get them in the hands of people.
Yeah. Do they have to do like crash testing when they change out motors and stuff like that, even if it's a minor tweak to a motor?
Well, they're just talking.
I
think that's all in the tune. I think it's all in the tune.
Well, I know it's got the lid's different, slightly different lid. It's got a different intake setup, and it's got a tune tweak.
You're talking the Cadillac versus the Camaro?
Yeah. So if you look at the lid on the Cadillac one, it's like, I think it's a little bit taller. It looks maybe the inside's a little bit different, but then the intake setup is a little bit different, more efficient. The exhaust, I guess, is supposed to be a little bit more efficient. Yeah. And the tune's tweaked, I guess, to take advantage of it. But it's not like no big internal changes to the motor.
No.
Yeah, and I think it's like a couple $1 million to even recertify the emission standards and get the checkoff approval from, everything you need to be able to do that. Like, I don't even see, like you said, do they have to do crash testing? They do, because motor mounts and the way like vehicles were designed to crash, like they used to, like the engine has a whole thing to do with it, how it protects the drivers nowadays, and BMW that'll drop, and they got the whole thing, So it's,
they wouldn't even tweak the engine to get more sales. They're not going to tweak the engine to get rid of the car.
Right.
It's going to sell whatever number they're going to make. It's going to sell anyway, just because it's a final edition. They could do absolutely nothing but a logo on it, and then it'll still sell. Right. Even if you charge an extra like $3,000 for it, the final edition.
And they will.
Bumblebee on retirement.
Yeah, I think like at this point, it's pretty much like try to get what you can if this is a car you want, and just hold on to it and kind of go forward with it, because we're not going to get much. We're not going to get much else, and the future cars they're all getting weird, and whether you like it or not, whatever. But like as far as the Camaros go, the gas engine Camaros, the V8s, the manual transmissions, the 1LEs, the ZL1s, especially, like if you want it, get it like as soon as you can. Don't hold out for like to see what they do last year, because the chances of you really getting it is so difficult. Like I can't even tell you how many hurdles I had to jump to get that last 1LE I did. And then granted, things are kind of easing up with production and getting things, but with the Camaro, it's still pretty hard to get. So it's like, get it if you can.
Do you know why the ZL1 1LE is under such heavy constraints?
A lot of that's been the carbon fiber.
Yeah, carbon fiber wing, I think, was big.
And they're putting that all into the Corvettes. So it's like, why are we going to put it into production of this car that doesn't really sell very well, and we don't really sell any of them when we can, because it was hard to get carbon fiber or quality carbon fiber for quite a while from manufacturers. And they're like, well, we're not going to concentrate on where it's not going to sell. We're going to put it where it's in the right place, right? So the Corvette's stealing from the Camaro now, if you want to give it that way, where it used to be the Corvette would take it, pass it down to the Camaro. Well, now they're like, who's selling more and which way is the future going?
And what's got the most margins? How much more money do they make per Corvette versus per Camaro?
Easy, right? Yeah. I wish that if they had a manual in the current Corvette, the C8s, I would go buy a Corvette. I'm going to say that right now. If they put a manual in it, I'd be all about it, but they're not going to, and that's my check.
I need a Corvette, but I need back seats. Like the other guy said, I have 5 kids, so I don't put 5 kids in my Camaro, but I can fit 1 or 2 back there maybe, and still go somewhere with my car. Otherwise, I'd take one of my backup cars.
Man.
Yeah, race car friends was saying that he thinks that they'll put the V8 back in the Camaro, because Ford's doing the V8. I'm not even ambitious about that, because Ford, well, originally we thought the current gen 5.0 is going to stick around for 8 years in the form that it's going to be moving forward, right? The 2024s. Okay. And it's actually looking more like 4 or 5 years now, with what we're actually seeing coming out. So to put that much production into that. Yeah, S650.
Okay, all right.
2024s. Okay. And even the current Mustang that's coming out is such a granular refresh of the Mustang. Like, it's really the same engine. It's really the same car. They just took out a steering rack, replaced it. They did some fine tunings. They changed the skin points here and there. It's really a lot of the same.
Is the chassis
it really
different?
Is. from my knowledge, it's the exact
it's like a
same.
slightly tweaked, slightly tweaked.
Yeah,
So
I think you're gonna
just like a refresh.
It's
like
very much a skin refresh. Yeah. You'll probably see slightly better handling. The history of Mustang is they'll release a special edition, do all their testing on that, and then the next one will get all those pieces. So you saw that with the older Bullets. The new ones would come out and get a lot of the Bullets parts. Well, now you have the Mach 1, and they put the GT500 like subframe in it, right? They did finer tunings, less spring dampening, whatever. They're going to bring that into the new Mustang, and that's how they've always done it. And then the Dark Horse will have ever so like little more heavier tweaks to make it a little bit more, driver focused. But it's not a new chassis. It's not even a new interior. I mean, it's refreshed, but the door panels, the door handle, everything is really so much the same. It's kind of disappointing, but it's what we got,
Kind of like what Porsche does with the 911.
Well, Porsche has a great car.
Oh man,
an amazing car. It's hard to polish a diamond so many times, But yeah,
man. So
it'd be nice
go ahead, Dirk.
I was gonna say if they do come out with another Camaro, it would be. I mean, I wouldn't even mind if they did the hybrid setup like they're doing with the Corvette. The electric motor coupled with a combustion motor, and you get kind of the best, but have it as an option. So you can either have like a normal Camaro, a hybrid one, or even if they wanted to do just an EV Camaro, give you an option to choose from. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Chevy E-Crate motors that they unveiled a few years back.
Oh,
it literally looks like a motor in the normal spot, but it's a stack electric motors, and you can actually swap into a normal car almost like you would swap an LS. Why can't they do something like that? Camaro I want to pick the freaking E-Crate as my motor choice, or you can pick. Of course, it's not as efficient as a typical motor on the hub or whatever, but it would give you an option to swap. I want to pick an electric, I want to pick a gas, I want to do a hybrid. Yeah. But instead, they're just like, we're just going to axe it, and then we're going to turn it into a freaking crossover or whatever. But,
Ideally, I think that would work best if they did it like McLaren did with the P1 and how they put the electric motor on the flex plate or the flywheel, and it actually had what they call torque fill. To where it actually...
If you ever think, you just do a Google for, I think it's called E-Crate or something like that. It even looks cool, which is, hey, that's a selling. But you open up your hood, it looks like you have a motor in there with all these cool, like, coolant pipes, coming off of it and stuff, and big, thick power cables and stuff.
Yeah. Camaro's dead, man.
No. Yeah.
I mean, that's my comment, but, that's, it could go either way, and people have different opinions, but, sad.
I'm sure it'll die, and it'll probably come back in 5 years as a a pure EV car of some sort, and it'll probably be a 4-door.
When people are used to it.
Yeah, in 5 years.
Do you think at the last second, when you think GM's about to rip the rug out from under you, do you think that we'll get ICE one more iteration of Camaro?
I think the biggest thing they'll do is maybe tell us they'll be at the 24 of the current car. That'll be the biggest thing they'll probably do with the Camaro.
You don't think we're going to get a 7th generation gas car?
No, probably not.
The thing is, we would have seen the mules by now, I think. You always see the mules driving around Detroit, or at least on testing grounds. People spy over the fences and stuff, and they go, "Hey, what is this?" We haven't gotten that. We haven't even gotten
nothing.
We haven't even gotten like a sneak peek of a wheel that we look like could fit it. Like usually,
some insider would have said something or something. Nobody's heard anything, so there's no way they're going to sneak. So they're not sneaky like that. They're not going to do something like that. But yeah. I mean, it would be cool if they would come out with a 7-gen ICE car and then do something like a Chevelle EV car of a 4-door sedan or something like that. It even has EV in the name.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't go in there and curse the Camaro name with some weird crossover as well.
Though, if they get like that Dodge truck that just came out, the EV truck, I know we're talking a lot of EV here, but they have like the lighting like dope, and everything looks cool on the inside. And I'm like, damn, that can adjust me to it, And Ford has an F-150 fully electric that just looks like an F-150. It
Ford's
looks like
always been good at that.
They've been better about it. I mean, if you look at the earlier electric Toyotas, it's like, whoa, dude, like that is some 1980s looking thing. you know. But Dodge is actually like I don't know about the whole electric sounding Challenger that like
No.
Something like an
That
Autobot or
Charger?
something like that.
No.
yeah, it
No.
like screams at you or like it has an emotion or something like
Yeah, you don't pick a drive mode. You pick like emotion. You know, sad mode. I want to drive sad today. It gives you a
it's just
sad
like
sound.
yeah, it's like what?
Yeah.
I'm driving
Nice.
feisty today. I'm gonna pick feisty
Oh,
mode.
Well, that's funny because
yeah.
Mercedes has I forgot what they call it, but you can change the emotion of the car inside where it changes the lighting, the music, the everything is like tuned comfort, and all of a sudden all the lights are nice and calm, and and then you're like, no, I'm raging right now. I need Red and Ramstein playing in my ears and stuff or whatever. And it's like they're doing that. It's like they're so lost on how to get emotion out of these cars and get the person back to feeling the car
Right.
as they used to with the gas engine, where it was just kind of like it was built in, right? I mean, you got the transmission, you could row gears or 10 speeds or whatever. Like the sound, you got cars that do deliver power differently up top, down low, different torque values. You got different sounds, turbos, blow up valves. You don't got that anymore. You have the same. So they're desperately trying to differentiate and grab the driver back.
Right.
And you're going to see a lot of gimmicky stuff start doing that.
Right.
Like a lot of stuff where you're just going to like laugh.
I just know about a fake shifter in an EV. I forgot what it was called, but it was like you're shifting even
No.
though
No.
like,
No.
Yeah, it's on our
No.
I'm not even lying. Yes, you're shifting your EV.
EST87 knows what's up.
Yeah. Last thing I need is my car to have feelings. Exactly.
Yeah, we all got like wives or
Exactly.
girlfriends that got way more feelings than we need sometimes, like let alone our car,
Yeah. Over it.
Hey, car,
Over
are you okay? I'm fine. Oh. I'm screwed today.
Screw you,
I'm
Cody.
fine.
I'm fine.
Well, I know what that means. Yeah.
Where's that
Vacuum me,
Dude,
jerk
I don't
off.
care.
Whoa, dude.
No,
But, yeah.
it used to be 50% car, 50% driver, and you met in the middle, and that's where the fun was. As far as the car depended on you, as far as like manual transmission to be able to push it to its limits and take it there, and then it was just part of the experience for the driver, and that's where it was. But yeah, I agree with Cody. They are really going after you and trying to just force it upon you now, and to the point to where it's like, it's just weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before they're gonna code in a top speed you can go on what road you're at, maximum acceleration rate you can do. So,
or they're giving you
can only go 80.
Way?
Yeah, you can only go 80, and you can only accelerate at X, point whatever G's. It's gonna be completely. It's gonna be put in the law, and they're gonna. I just saw something where in a couple of years, there's some law they passed where some restriction on your car. I can't remember what it was, but I guess it can't be that horrible yet. But it's only a matter of time. Especially once you're on EVs, they can completely. Next time we have a stay at home order quarantine thing, they'll just you won't be able to turn your EV on.
Yep, got to have a permit in order.
Yeah, you'll have to get like authorization. It'll clear through some online portal, and then you can drive now and go get groceries. But you can't deviate from that because the system will keep you on track.
Right.
I mean, you could technically do that right now. Like OnStar can disable a vehicle.
Oh yeah,
and the dealers even install. Granted, this is probably more of the shady kind of type of dealers, but the thing where if you don't pay your loan, it disables like your fuel or your ignition or whatever, or like if you're a drunk driver, they put those ignition cutoff things, which by all means, I'm fine with that. Like people shouldn't be driving drunk, but like, I don't know. I remember I was driving around during the quarantine thing because I had to for work. And like, typically to get through like downtown San Diego down to like what's called Otay Mesa, which is the town right before Mexico, it would take you somewhere around like 2 hours and 2.5 hours or something. And I got there in like 45 minutes. But granted, I was like, I was driving how I drive sometimes. But I was like, I don't know. I hope this stays because this is great for driving. But not really. But the driving aspect was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Don't drive too crazy now. I don't know if you saw that one guy. He got arrested for his YouTube videos for driving
the speed camera.
Was it? It wasn't. I forgot his name, but he had a whole series where he's got his house swatted. SWAT team showed up.
Oh, Kevin Van Voris or
yeah.
Dude, that's a few guys.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, I guess a lot with that was he had somebody in the car with him, and they were able to step in and say that he was putting their life in danger.
Well, it was his employees, and then they didn't have an issue, but he was like, and he had hit that viral video, and he was like, 1, 2, 3, go, and he's like, you're not even racing. He's not even racing. That was his original footage, and so they went and busted him for like racing. Even if he's just going at high acceleration at a stoplight by himself, they're like flagging videos as racing.
Yeah.
But I think
like 3 counties or something like that.
I think he had been. They came. So there was actually like 3 or 4 YouTubers at the time they did this too. All at the same time, pretty much. And one of them, they wrote him like a ticket, and they arrested him or whatever they did. And then he got back home and everything, and they told him like, hey, don't do this again or you're gonna have a problem. And he was like putting on YouTube like, I don't care what they say, we're gonna go out racing today. And I was like, yeah, like, is this really worth the views, dude? And then sure enough, they came and took all of his cars, and then they slapped some heavy charges on him for, he wasn't even racing, but he was what's called like inciting, or like basically where he encouraged people to race, right, and do things, right. And it's like, granted, not all my videos are, I don't even need to say it, but
I've seen some.
but I'm like, I choose select areas, I choose select times, I choose. I think there's a lot of negligence on a lot of YouTubers' parts too, like where they're like totally just racing ZL1s, modified ZL1s, which is a very fast car, as you know. And they're like doing it like in traffic in LA between cars going a $160. You can see their speedometer, and there's people with their like kids just driving 60. And like even as me as an enthusiast, like I've had challengers try to race me on the highways, like in my 1LEs and stuff. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, no, I've grown out of it, and I used to do a lot of street racing as a kid, or my younger days. But we always used to go to like the industrial park when it was closed, right? And we'd have radios, so if cops popped up, we'd be able to call us on radios. But we went to places that were secluded so we can race, and so that we didn't like just do stupid stuff. But once you got YouTube and people clicking, people like left the effort behind and just put way too much effort into that, and it just became stupid, I think. And it kind of I got out of it because of that for a while.
It's getting and like Tracy was saying, I was telling him about that in the last video I made, was it's kind of getting out of hand because I get provoked a lot, because a lot of people you just put a camera in front of them, and people just freaking lose their minds, dude. They just they'll do anything. But
they lose sight of it too,
Oh yeah. And it's like, I want a mile of no traffic ahead of me. I want, you know what I'm saying?
Well, in ZL1, you need that.
Yeah. I mean, true. You need it, but I mean, it's like, if I'm gonna wipe out, I'm gonna do it to myself. I'm not gonna hurt anybody's property but mine. I don't want to, put anybody in any kind of danger that way. But yeah, you're right. It is. These new videos and these new trends of cutting lanes, cutting traffic, like 120 plus. It's like, man, somebody's gonna die, and I don't want any part to do with it.
No, forget that.
Oh yeah. I've been in cars with friends that were doing that, and I like. There's a speed where you just like, okay, now I'm kind of annoyed, because it's like, dude, I've been in both places when you're just driving and you have like a kid in your back seat, and you got like your girlfriend or wife with you, and then you got that guy that like flies up on you, and like, it's like, dude, like, I got people I care about here, and like, I'm a car enthusiast too, but you need to know your place. It's not everywhere. You don't walk around naked outside all the time, but it's like, you got to know your place.
That's a good example. That's a good example. That's a very good example.
Just sometimes.
Yeah, just
just
3 a.m. right? You'll catch me walking my dog butt naked down the street.
I'm just kidding. Doesn't that feel better? Tell the truth. Doesn't that feel better? Yeah. Man, but yeah, like I said, There's a point to where it goes fun, and then it's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, we used to we used to meet up at like a Sonic, and we go to like the industrial park, and that's where we'd race, and we do and we did stupid shit out there. But it's and to Tracy's point here that the population has really grown. The population has blown up. Yeah. Like it is crazy how many people are, especially like here in Orange County, and they just keep building, but they don't build the streets. So it's
true.
It's way too many people. They don't care about it. They come back to it later. So you have so much traffic.
Well, my town went from like 30,000 to 100,000. Like I want to say 10 years or something ridiculous. It's New Braunfels, which is near San Antonio, Austin area. So it's in that pipeline of Austin, San Antonio. So it's freaking the roads are not anywhere close to being able to keep up with anything. That thankfully
Austin is crazy how many cars there are. Like you try to leave that city at 5 p.m. because I did there for work, and I was like, I think I sat in an hour of traffic to move a mile, and I almost lost my freaking mind.
Work in Austin now moved to New Braunfels, which is where I'm at, because it's like 40 minutes, and it's cheaper, it's nicer. You got in the main city. So all those people who want to work in San Antonio come here. All the people come from California and New York come to this area as well. So half my people in my neighborhood are from California, New York, Austin, and like I said, the roads are just turning into Austin pretty much.
Yeah, and like was that too bad for Ubo says more reopen the tracks. And I totally agree with that. We need more tracks, but like even LA doesn't even have a quarter mile, and we have like an eighth mile out in Irwindale, and it's like an eighth, it's like give us a quarter mile. But it's like also you're looking at, because there's so much land, that land is now so damn expensive that they could go build houses on it and make money, or they're going to put a racetrack, or right now we drive 2.5 to 3 hours to go to like Streets of Willow and Willow Springs, and you're just not going to find too many people willing to do that, I think, unless they
do public land type track, government ran. I mean, to turn public property into this. Otherwise, nobody's going to go 3 hours and pay a bunch of money to go race like twice.
Yeah, right.
The roads.
Exactly.
So if you don't make it easy accessible, easy to use, easy to get into, then they're not going to do it.
Yep.
My taxes just went up again. Thankfully, my taxes aren't too bad here in Texas, but
it's not just it's not just politicians; it's corporations, though. Like we've seen the biggest influx of corporate income in what we've seen in probably our lives within the past 3 years, where they're making insane amount of money because they're overinflating things. Like food's one of them, right? Like they're inflating food for no reason. So people are now starting to go, well, where can I cheap out on things? Where can I make things easier in my life? And one of the big things that's a big expense for people is cars. And now you're going to see a dissolving of people that can afford sports cars and are willing to be able to pay a lot of money for tires and, just the whole thing. So you're going to see things that are accessories to life dissolving. And I hate to say it, but that's performance cars.
Yeah, well, salaries are staying the same. Inflation's going up. So my salary from 2 years ago, is equivalent to me making like $15,000 less than I made 2 years ago, and I didn't get a pay raise.
That's
10%.
I heard that in 2023, 2024, they're going to be focusing on pushing wages down, and I heard that the feds are going to keep the interest rates up to make getting a loan for anything.
Unless mortgage rates are skyrocketed as well. Like here, my loan a couple years ago, I got like 2-something%. Now it's 7 or something, like 6-7%.
Yeah.
Mortgage rate. I was like,
but
that's like $500 a month.
To be fair, like 2% is like historically, like if you look at the historic of home loans, 2% was
it was crazy.
Low. Like it was crazy. Like this makes no sense. So 7%, 5%. While they did it wrong, they should have been gradually bringing us up for a long time, but they took these huge jumps all of a sudden, and you're getting shock, or it's going to cause instability as we're already kind of seeing it. And just kind of what you're saying. It's hard. Like even I'm like looking at my next car, I'm going to probably buy this year. Well, what's my interest rate going to buy it? When I got my last Camaro, I got 2.7% on it, and that's when most people were seeing like 5% from banks because I went through a credit union, right? And I have good credit, like good credit. So now I went and checked that same rate from that same exact bank just 2, 3 months later, and it's already a whole percent more. And that's a lot when you're talking $50,000 or whatever you're going to find.
Yes.
Like it's 1% is a substantial amount of money
On 60 months.
Yeah, or whatever the hell you're doing, 72, or people. If you own a Dodge, you probably got 84. So
120. It's 120 a month at 12%.
When I ordered that red eye, they told me that they might be able to get me either 92 or 96 months.
Oh my God,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
But if you go to like PinFed or Woodside or whatever, they'll go 144 on exotic.
What?
Oh, on it.
Yes.
I guess a non-depreciating. Well, I mean, even I guess exotics even they don't. I guess depreciate maybe. Well,
you'll never pay it off.
Porsche. Yeah, I mean anything like Porsche, what they deem exotic, anything Porsche and higher, they'll go. You can get 10, 12 years on it.
You'll never pay it off.
I actually could have got a Lamborghini Gallardo cheaper than I got my ZL1. But yeah, there's a lot
short
of
term cheaper. Yeah,
exactly.
Not long.
If I'd have just let it sit, but yeah, no.
That's crazy.
92 to 96. And then you can see online how people are treating these cars, and then
that's crazy.
I just don't see the resale.
I think honestly 72 months, which even a lot of people say is kind of high, but I've always done 72 months myself and paid it off earlier just to get the lower value. But I think that's the max. Like if you're trying to stretch it any further than that, like if you have to stretch it, you can't afford it.
Right. And don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah,
that's why I tell everybody it doesn't matter your interest rate because you can pay it off earlier and buy your own interest rate.
That's true. What I mean? You're not. Yeah, don't pay the minimum.
Don't. Yes. No.
A lot of people go, I can afford the minimum, so I can afford the car, and that, dude, that's gonna bite you in the ass.
Yes. Oh my God, Tracy. Oh. This guy paid $156,000 for his Yenko. That was the sticker price on it. I don't know how he structured but he says I went 5 yesterday. I went 5 yesterday. I don't think I might have went 5 years maybe on what I have left to pay on my Yenko. That ain't bad at all. Yeah, $156,000.
Yeah, but you got a Yenko, I guess, right? I mean, most people can't even get those.
No,
that's a sick car.
But it should hold value too. So I mean,
what's
sell it, he could get his money back. Versus most cars, except for that short period of time, you drive it off the lot, you just lost 20%.
But the banks won't see that as an exotic or anything. No. You know what I mean? So
it's a Camaro to them, honestly. But the value of it, but that's the funny thing. Like the Copa, the Yenko, all those, like like those are halo cars. Like most people aren't going to be able to like really buy them. The fact that we have somebody in the comments that bought one is like an anomaly, and that's a cool anomaly. Like don't get me wrong, I respect it.
Yes.
You got the financials to do it. You actually found one and got it, and you actually got it. You are like one out of like probably
1 out of 50 because they only make 50 a year.
That's okay. So there's 50 of them. So that's out of how many people want and actually can capably get them is just like a fraction. Like don't sell that car, dude. Like just sit in that thing and just mentally
car sounds, but don't actually drive
every day with it. Yeah,
dude. If you just seen my last video, we spent like an hour on the phone. He was telling me all about it and everything, and very cool dude, very very humble guy, very very just down to earth. You wouldn't even suspect. Like he's got just the mentality and the attitude. But yeah, he texted me pictures of the dyno chart. 1055 at the wheels.
Oh my God.
1266 horsepower at the crank. Right off the showroom. Oh my God. Yeah.
I couldn't even stay on the road with that.
What's that?
I said I couldn't even stay on the road. I mean, you barely hit it. The thing woggle right off the road unless you got a prep track or something.
Be ripping the pavement from under you, yeah.
That's a hell of a Jesus Christ.
But it's just like you were saying. You don't get the opportunity to talk to somebody like that or even have contact with somebody like that. But it's just
That's so
ESG
much
instead.
horsepower, though. Yeah, that's.
But I'm saying from the factory.
You'd have to have drag tires just to freaking move it, I would think.
Oh yeah, easy. Like yeah, I mean, shit. You got guys with like 800 horsepower losing their cars on public streets without really focusing on like
I've
slicks
seen
and
people
that.
with factory power dumping it.
I mean, even with the supercharged, the power so quick and instant. You hit it.
Yeah.
Even like with ZL1, even a mostly stock ZL1, you still can easily just slide her sideways.
If you kill that traction control, sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so even with traction control on, it's still freaking. It'll still get fishy.
I've never driven a car with 1,266 horsepower, so
No.
I'll get there. I'll get there one day here, but yeah, no, it was really cool talking to him. He was a down to earth, nice guy, and I appreciate the time he took to tell us about it and the buying experience and everything. But yeah,
super unique. Yeah, that's few and wide. That's cool. Good stuff, dude. Respect on that.
Park it in one of those big air bubbles you see people put their cars.
That's what he's got. That's what he's got.
That's what you need, really.
He cut the oxygen off of it. Yeah, he sent me pictures. Yeah, he's got a '69 Yenko, 2 Camaros, $300,000.
Damn.
Yeah, sent me pictures of it. '69 clone, and he's got a 22. I think he's got like 100 miles on it. Is what he said.
I just have to trade in my wife and kids, and maybe I can get me a
pretty much everything I have. Yeah, yeah, along with my
That's crazy because you could buy like 3 or 4 or 5, something like ZL1s or SS1LEs. You could have like a lot of cars. I mean, like a lot.
You could buy a house. That's a house right there, really.
Yeah.
But like you don't buy those cars if you don't have a house.
Well, I mean,
oh, you should see it. You should. I didn't see his house.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. Like, I'm looking at buying, my next car, and I'm not rich by any means. Like, I rent an apartment right in California, which you gotta even have money for nowadays. People are telling me like, hey, get this $100,000 car and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I could. But it feels just so incredibly stupid to me to do that if I don't own a home, because I mean, there's people in my complex right now that drive Porsches, like brand new Porsches. There's people in my complex that drive really high end cars, and I see them pulling out of an apartment complex, and it's not me to judge. I don't care what people do with their money, and I'm a car guy, but it's just like, dude, like, you're never going to get ahead. You're never going to be in a better place. And like, just, you couldn't find a car that would be like half the price, and get something else. But like, again, it's not for me to say, but it's crazy to me, and I can't be there.
Maybe they just don't want home ownership headache. They just want.
I don't.
All they need is a small apartment.
I don't.
And then they can still live.
I had a house, and to me, I don't. It's not even the expense. It's just I don't want to wake up early and
mow the yard and
and scoop snow, and then if there's a leak, 1 a.m. or what I'm saying, it's and plus where I'm at, my rent is like 45-55% of the average mortgage around here. So it's seriously
pricey out here, dude.
What's that? Oh my God!
Was your apartment there like $3,000 or something for an apartment over there? Or?
Dude, so he's in Orange County.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as Northern California. Northern California is really bad, and there's other states that are actually more like Washington and stuff. But Northern California is a lot worse, especially Bay Area.
Interesting.
Because tech jobs pay more out there. Orange County is a couple nicks down on the list, but you're looking at like 1-bedrooms, like I mean, in this area, like, what the hell am I paying? Like, just like right under $3,000 ish is pretty the norm right now. Maybe like 2,700 for like a
that's more than my mortgage for my 3,700 square foot house.
Yeah. See, I mean, and technically, if you're working in, there's certain, jobs technically pay more out here than they do in other states, but it makes up for the area, right? And California has a lot of tech guys. I'm a tech guy, right? That's what I do.
I'm a tech guy too. So
there you go. So I mean, I could go to another state and probably still make good for the area and be good for myself and be able to buy a house and stuff like that. But I have everybody here where I'm attached to the car culture here, the canyons, it's it's what I know, you know. So you live where you want to, you just accept the, you know,
environment.
yeah, you get smacked with whatever you get smacked with, and you make it work. But at the end of the day, it's like I don't know. I'm not in a place where I'm worried about anything. I'm still able to buy my sports cars and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to go buy a 100K car quite yet.
You
You
guys
know?
have garages or like apartment garages, or do you still have like a carport or
Yeah.
something?
No, I mean, there's places that don't, but they'll be a little bit cheaper. But yeah, I have a garage.
Oh,
So,
so I mean, at least they got it covered. I would be sweating if I had my $100-something thousand car just sitting out in
oh
the
yeah.
parking lot.
Dude, that's funny though. Like you'll walk on the like there's houses right outside my complex, and people will park their high ass in cars. I mean, real like Bentleys and stuff like that just around the street, and you're just like walking around like that's. Don't you want to put that in a garage, bro? Like that's crazy.
I
But
got all my boxes in the garage. I will keep my car outside. I'm gonna keep my boxes just scattered around my garage.
yeah, I gotta,
No
I
roof in the
gotta,
car.
I gotta
Priorities,
preserve those
right?
photos. I gotta preserve those.
I got a bunch of
photos.
storage units I have to store all my junk in, so I can keep my garage relatively able. I have a 3-car garage, but I only park my car in there. I make my wife park out in the driveway. So
So I think we have a question from White Knuckle asking about wheels. So I'm just going to comment on this before I get to it. I would say if you're keeping 20s and you're not doing it for track purposes, keep the SS1LE wheels personally
Yes.
because they're the best wheels out there. And that's my solid opinion. Just throwing that out there, but maybe
they look great too. So I mean,
Same.
they're amazing.
Yeah,
I mean they're forged
strong.
and they're the lightest. Yeah.
If I was looking at I'd be going straight to the 19s, going with like the ZL11LE kind of setup, so I could run like 325 or whatever in the rear. Plus, you have better tire selection with the 19s for performance tires.
Right.
I wouldn't buy
Yeah.
20s. I mean, personally, I wouldn't buy 20s just because you don't really gain anything.
Yeah, I mean you're
Look.
technically slower on 20s than 19s too. I mean technically, but it fills the wheel well a little bit better. But like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd go much wider. I mean, I think you can on the SS1LE because I might be wrong about this. Aren't the ZL1 wheels a little bit bigger than the SS1LEs, or am I wrong on there?
No,
The front fenders on the ZL1 are slightly
Fenders
wider.
stick out. Right, okay.
They're wider.
The offset might be different.
Yeah.
But
I'm
as
not
far
sure
as
about the wheel size, but if you do look at the ZL1 fenders, they're like a couple millimeters wider on each side to fit the slightly wider tire setup in the SS1LEs and stuff like that. That's why you can't just take the ZL1 bumper and throw it on the non-ZL1 unless you get the fake ones or whatever.
Well, I guess you can, but you just make it fit and it looks goofy. Oh, that's been my gripe. I made a reel about that.
It doesn't line up, so yeah, the fender won't line up.
Bent about that, but I think the size he's asking will work. The only thing you have to worry about is if you start messing with the wheels on the SS1LE is there's a harness that runs in the back, the rear somewhere, but like
Driver's
during
side,
turns,
I think,
I think it is. It'll wear. I've even seen my buddies actually wears on the track stock where mine didn't.
We have to pull out the wheel well liner, move the harness, and then you can heat up that
readjust
liner
it
and then flatten it out, and then you won't get the crazy rubbing or whatever.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is my car didn't do it. Like, and I tracked harder than he did, and his wore, and mine didn't. But we have the same, stock setup, and it still wore on his. And I was like, oh, this is weird. That's pretty cool. We got a super sticker from Too Bad.
It's a GM. GM consistency.
I'm so bad.
That's what we're talking about here. GM consistency.
Yeah.
Says we need info on the wheels. We need info on, bud.
You can come to North Carolina. It's cheaper here. You'll be talking like cornbread, though.
Yeah, you'll have a southern twang. It's Kona.
Why is my dog licking the wall?
That's a good question.
Hope you don't have lead paint.
No, we definitely don't got lead. You got lead paint? What? Why are you looking at the wall? That's weird, dude. I think you saw where I actually have these holes drilled in the wall for the 1LE flags for my thing. And I think he just saw that and decided if it was like something he can eat right now.
It's quick snap.
What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? You're doing good. You tired of me talking? Yeah. I think my kid.
I almost moved to North Carolina for some work, but I was stationed in South Carolina for a little while, which is, of course, South North Carolina, but both those areas are pretty nice.
Woo! Man, I don't know. I wouldn't mind go to North Carolina just to check his car out, man. I just want to see his garage, dude. I've never even seen a Yanko in real life. Have you?
Probably got those infrared saunas. Probably got an infrared sauna in the garage, next to the Yanko, so you can sit in the sauna and look at the cars laid out while he gets a nice sauna workout.
I'm game. Hey, I'm down. I'm not above it. Man.
Yeah, some wild stuff.
No, it's but I wanted to ask you a question. What you're saying theoretically or actually you're faster on 19s than you are 20s. How is
the
that?
gearing changes up the gearing a little bit. And
the last I knew that the gearing was only different in 6th gear.
Well, I mean, the gearing, when you lower the size of the wheels, the circumference of the wheel and tire slightly changes your, experience gearing of your car. Plus, the rotational, mass of your wheels are now lighter, so you have lighter, whatever the term for that is. But
yeah,
that's why people try to run lighter brake setup, lighter wheel setups, because you get more performance. Just like a lighter flywheels and stuff like that.
Right. And like a lot of guys do 19s for track purposes, but not only because it's cheaper to get tires and you have more tire options, but you are a hair quicker just because they're 19s. And it's not. I've seen guys do it. Yeah, you grumpy. I've seen guys run them, but they just look. 19s do not look good on Camaros, man. Like the wheel well has a big opening for 20s, and I think it looks.
I'm a big fan of the 20.
I am too.
20.
On a Camaro, I think it needs it.
You can always swap the springs or whatever and drop it like a little bit to kind of fill up that if that's a big thing up for you. If you do switch to 19s, and you won't really lose any handling performance unless you get some just crappy springs, or you go in there and you just cut your springs and just chop them.
No. Just
go there.
We're not driving Hondas here.
Yeah,
I saw somebody sitting there just cutting their freaking springs. I forgot what they were using, like a damn.
No, I've heard you can actually get worse ride quality. I don't know about performance.
Oh yeah,
out of the mag ride if you go to like a lowering spring, because I kind of want to do that. I don't like the gap I've got now.
They designed with the mag ride in mind, so it takes that effect. I'm not sure if what there's the different kinds, like where it's the linear spring, or you have the ones that are not linear. They have a different range. I can't remember. I looked at it for a little while, but I didn't feel like doing the springs myself. They just look like a pain to.
They do, yeah.
Right. I didn't want to miss that. I think you do a 1/2 inch. I think without messes. Somebody makes it that says mag ride capable. I don't remember if it was like Ibach or who made those springs, but you could look into it. But they say it doesn't mess with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I knew a guy that lowered his 1LE, and it looked cool, but I don't know. I mean, I think the suspension is just so good on the car. If you really wanted to, if it's beyond looks, if it's really for like performance capabilities, there's other things you can do, like the rear bushings.
Bars.
Yeah, I have all that stuff sitting on my workbench right now. I have to do. I just haven't had time.
The cradle inserts or whatever.
Because I'm not replacing. If you want to replace it to the 1LE, ZL1 1LE bushing, that's a whole pain. You have to freaking burn out the old ones and the ones in there. Yeah, I just bought the inserts. I have the whole BMR suspension set up sitting on my workbench as well. I just have to find the motivation to do it. I got all the BMR, the whole suspension front and back. I have all BMR parts just sitting on my workbench. Big pile.
This guy said rotational mass plus bigger sidewall for bigger flex. Dude, never go bigger sidewall. At least in my opinion. Like, have you seen this? No. Like the Supercar 3 tire sidewall is like that. Like it is
unless you're going drag tires, then it's good.
Right. Well, it depends on what you're doing, right? Yeah. But if that's the case, don't get a 1LE. Get an SS.
Yeah, the bigger sidewall, your corner, because your car will then start kind of.
You lose sharpness.
Diving into it, yeah. Now, if you're dragging, you're trying to get that catch on the strip, then they're better.
Yeah, people will put Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's on like SS1LEs to get more life out of them and keep some level of performance if they don't track it. But the sidewall on those just irk me so much, and I'll ask everyone, "Oh, they're a little squishier." And one guy let me drive his car, and I was like, "Yeah." I'm not about it. Like you lose the sharpness, you lose the I don't know. To me, the SS1LE is just so perfect because it's sharp. You don't when you turn and you take a hard turn, like you're in those turns. There's when you start getting like a squishy tire, like a higher sidewall. When you first bank into that turn and before the car really shifts its weight, you're gonna have a little bit of moment in that where it's like almost numb, where the car needs to set. And where it is on stock tires, it doesn't need to do that. I almost call it the Mustang effect because they're big with big sidewalls, and they've always been like that, where you turn in, the car sits and then it handles. But when you do that, you start pulling away from the 1LE suspension a little bit, and that's where you kind of get that. So I've never been a fan of squishy sidewalls. It's just that's always been my thing. I've hated squishy sidewalls
because the Camaro has a 2030, or I'm sorry, 305 2030, or God damn,
285.
Yeah, on the front, 285 30
right.
20, and I know Dodge has got like a 305 35 20, and their turn. I think that's part of the Dodge's problem as far as like, it needs better sway bars, a little bit better, stiffer suspension. I think they, just like you said, reduce that sidewall on that tire.
Yeah.
I think the Hellcat would be a lot better handling of a car, but
but it's set up for like what it is.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've heard on the ZL1 1LE, an argument is, the diameter goes down an inch, but it's an inch wider. So how are you saving actual weight?
Well, the wheel itself is lighter, physical wheel, because it's a smaller.
It's smaller in diameter, but then it gains an inch in width.
Yeah, but I think they still came out to be, the way they manufacture that wheel itself, is also just lighter than there's a 20-inch ZL1 wheel weighs more than the 19-inch ZL1 1LE wheel. And then if you go to like the Apex 19 that has the 1LE dimensions, that's I think even lighter. You get them like 20 pounds or something like that. 21 pounds.
It's insane. It's insanely light. Yeah.
The normal ZL1 wheel, I think, I want to say it's like 28 pounds or something like that. So, all four sides, you're saving 30 something 40 pounds just on wheels.
Oh yeah, it adds up.
And he's saying 19-inch sidewall is bigger than a 20-inch. I think that depends on your tire.
Yeah. Well, if you go to 19-inch wheel, but then you have a bigger sidewall, it'll come out to being the same as a 20-inch with a slightly smaller sidewall. There's a calculator on the internet. You can type in all your dimensions. It'll tell you the exact thing to figure out what.
That's definitely a thing.
Ratio.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. But again, that kind of goes into like when you start modifying, like doing kind of like your research and where you want to be. And sometimes when you modify, you're not actually doing better for the car, but you just do what you want for the car. So I've modified before and found that, I didn't want to do that. I won't do that again. Not on these cars, but in my past. But it depends on what you want to do. So it depends on what you like.
You put on an intake and not a tune, and sometimes you actually are slightly slower than before you put the intake on there. But it sounds better, so it's like, if I'm 0.01 slower, sound 5 times better, it's a trade-off, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Valid.
I'm not racing for money or anything crazy, so whatever.
Well, okay.
Well,
I think
is that the bacon?
I think that's
I think that's the bacon.
Yeah. But
I don't know what that means, but I think we know what that means.
I think we all know the saying.
Yeah,
no, as far as I'll just close it out by saying, like, my predictions. I'll leave it up to everybody else. We haven't heard anything from GM. I think that what everybody said here on the stream tonight is on point. We're not getting anything drastic, anything different. Might be a sticker package, and they're going to call it done. Other than that, I think 2024 is going to be the end of the Camaro, and I don't think we're going to hear anything till about early summer, late spring of this year to wrap it up from GM. But thoughts?
Yep.
New emblem on the steering wheel. And then for $3,000 you get a sticker and a different paint code.
Oh, a different paint. Yeah. I forgot about.
I think that'll be if you buy the final edition thing. But I think all of them will get like a little, instead of where the ZL1 emblem on the bottom of the steering wheel is, they're gonna put like final edition. Something. And then
Yeah.
if you buy the package for $3-4 grand or whatever, it'll give you a new paint code, maybe different stitching color of your sheets, and then maybe a little emblem, maybe a little emblem on your dash or something, or by the shifter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Finally.
Maybe a Corvette hand-me-down and then call it done, right?
A shift cap.
Yeah, there. Oh, yes, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's it?
Cool.
Go ahead.
No, yeah. Go ahead, man.
All right. Well, you guys down to stream again some other time then, or?
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And thanks for the people that stayed in and chatted us up, asked questions. That was a good time. We hopefully some news with things change, and we'll be there to
and we'll be back.
We'll be here to shoot it out,
bitch about it, and voice our opinion on it. So.
Oh yeah, good stuff, guys.
All right, fellas, have a good night. We'll talk to you.
It was a pleasure.
Yep.
Later, bros.
Thanks, guys. Yep. See ya.
Later, guys.